What's up, friends? And welcome back to I.E In Friends. My name is Saul V Gomez.
My name is Cesar.
I'm hungry as shit.
And from Ecuador to NASA and now to the IE, we want to introduce Elio Morillo, the space mechanic and engineer. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It was a drive.
It was a drive. What was further, LA to the IE or the United States to Mars?
Dude, Mars way. It's a shorter commute.
Shorter commute. No, so that's a huge thing. I've never met anyone in NASA. And that's actually a message you're sharing right now. I see in your social media is bringing Latinos into STEM. And like that's such an amazing thing because no one in my community that I know of is in STEM or at least like working in engineering for like NASA or like space mechanics. So how did you, coming from Ecuador, end up in NASA?
Bro, that's kind of part of the narrative that we're trying to change, right? And I think by going to social media and sharing my own story and telling other people at NASA to share their stories and other friends too in other companies, we're out here. We're doing some great work. We're literally putting things on other planets.
Yeah.
And there's not many of us, right? And that's kind of the important thing that to be highlighted. I'm gonna get serious for like a hot second. I'm gonna throw stats.
Let's do it.
Right now, the United States has about 20% Hispanic. So the Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans,
Only 20%?
We're only 20% right now.
Whoa.
That's changing pretty quickly, but we are just 20% of the country as of like maybe last year, if that's where the data's from. In STEM fields, in careers, engineering, coding, whatever, we're about 8% of the representation when it comes to Hispanics.
I thought it was gonna be lower, to be honest with you.
So, but it's low though.
Yeah, still
8%.
Pretty low, right? It's pretty low.
8% from 20. I mean, it's not too bad. Not too.
It's 8% from 100%. It's 8% from 100%.
No, I get it, but I'm saying like I thought literally he was gonna like from that 20% he was gonna say like maybe like 2% or something.
But
right?
there's
like,
no
a lower number.
But here's the scary part, right? Here's the scary part because that 8% hasn't changed all that much over the few years.
There it is.
And the country, like the Hispanics, we're gonna be more than half of the country, 50% or more, by the 2050s.
Oh
right?
wow!
So the Hispanic population is growing pretty quickly to get there in the 2050s. Like right now, if you go to any school and just across the country, it's like I think 1 in 4 or 2 in 4, something like that. Out of the kids there, they're likely to be Hispanic. So we're growing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But the pipeline into the STEM careers and STEM fields is not at its best for a variety of reasons, and that's its own whole topic.
Yeah.
So to close that gap, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of inspiration, and I'm here to tell those kids that it's possible. If this pelagato was able to get here. Then they can too, right?
Yeah.
And putting my face out there so that they see that I sound like them, that I blast Bad Bunny in the lab,
you do it up in NASA blasting Bad Bunny?
Dude, yes.
I want to hear an astronaut.
Bro, before all y'all, like since 2016, an OG fan right here.
I want to hear
Bad Bunny with the
I want to hear an astronaut in Mars just bumping some Bad Bunny in his
And it's about bringing the culture, right? It's about bringing the
Rover's
culture.
dream, bro.
The Rover has a fucking USB speaker. They're just playing that shit. The aliens are like, dang, that shit's so bro. Yeah. So the percentage of Latinos in STEM is just stagnating, just literally just staying the same for the couple of years.
It has been growing, but way slower.
Just too slow.
Than the population is growing, right? So it's going to become a problem because then when we're talking about the 2050s and beyond, right? When the country is mostly Hispanic, when we got to be real about this. Like a lot of the higher paying jobs, a lot of the technology and what's designed into our daily lives, like we kind of take for granted, like the apps, your phones.
Yeah.
If our people aren't in those rooms making design decisions, making business decisions, then that's going to lead to culture being erased at the end of the day, right? And we don't want that. We want to be represented. And we want to be part of that wealth building.
For sure.
Yeah, big time.
No, yeah, and it's huge saying people literally like you, like being, so now we see, like when you think of NASA, I never thought of like any Latinos in that control room. I
think it was a white dude with like a white button up.
Yeah, a bunch of white dudes and button ups. So it's really cool.
But same, right? And it's same. Growing up, it's one of those things that now I get to reflect on that. It was like, same. That's all who I had to look up to.
Yeah.
Watching, you know, there are some stories. For many years, they weren't necessarily highlighted. Like when we talk about big names in space in particular, we have people like Dr. Elin Ochoa. We have Jose Hernandez. We have Dr. Chang Diaz. But now they're starting to be highlighted a bit more. And then, of course, people like Diana Trujillo, who I worked for. She's really big if you look her up, and for a variety of reasons. She was in the Mars program. Now she's going to be working on the lunar stuff for humans. I worked for her, and she is a great mentor and was a colleague. And these stories are being highlighted more. But at the end of the day, the truth is that it is pretty lonely. Yeah. Like we don't have that many people in the lab. But for example, that look and sound like us. But like there were times when Diana and I were in the lab, and I just brought my speaker, and like we were playing some salsa in the background as we were like doing our thing. Cool. And that's not something you get to do too often in these spaces. You know,
for sure.
I remember learning about Elin Ochoa in school, but that's the only thing that was like the only name.
Yep.
That was the only person that I learned about. That was,
and she is a big deal.
Yeah,
she is a very big deal. But I'm sure she had it lonely. Like being a woman,
imagine her,
Latina. But she's done amazing stuff. You know, she was an astronaut. She's now leading one of the NASA centers. So I am fortunate that I have a few people to look up to, but I do wish there was more.
Yeah.
And the people that hired me, that I've met through the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, I've stayed connected with them. And I think the important thing to talk about is how doors were open for me. Make sure I keep those open, and as I'm on my way up, opening more doors. Right, like that's what we're doing.
Like you said, you feel bad because you didn't have that much people to look up to, but now I feel like it's
people looking up to you.
What you've been doing, so like now you could be the mentor.
Yep,
that's your job now.
Yep.
So exactly. I think that's pretty cool. Like, you didn't have that much people to look up to, but then now you do. Now you're the one that has that job. Like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna take control. I'm gonna take the lead, and I'm gonna inspire these kids to get in these STEM programs, work in the STEM field.
What's up, friends? Before we continue with today's episode, we are going to shout out our friends at Manscaped. This holiday season, I'll be giving thanks to our friends over at Manscaped. Everyone loves turkey and stuffing, but you'll be looking like dessert. With the help of Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming have blessed you with ultimate Thanksgiving dinner topics. Tell your in-laws about your new cutting-edge ball trimmer and gift yourself or the man in your life the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Trim your pumpkins by going to manscaped.com and use code I.E Friends for 20% off plus free shipping.
I have a good story about this actually.
If you want to give her the stuffing before you eat your stuffing, you gotta trim.
All right, this was funny, bro. This story could actually be put on the podcast. It's fucked.
It happened.
Well, it actually will be, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I was probably like 14, and it was Thanksgiving Day, and I was looking a little hairy down. It was I think it was probably the first time I ever shaved. But I grabbed scissors, some old ass scissors, bro. I think it was like those colorful ones. And I started cutting, and I started itching on Black Friday shopping so bad. I had to tell my dad. That shit was so embarrassing, bro. He didn't even mean it. I think he said you could put like lotion or something once I get home. And then then I think I bought that a couple weeks later. I bought like the 2.0 one.
Yeah.
It was fucked, dude. So yeah, I'm thankful for Manscaped and like that shit not hurting ever again like that, bro. I thought that was just like a common thing.
Scissors?
Like, does everyone feel this?
I thought everyone just felt that pain. Like, it was just like itchy. It was red. It was like I was walking on Black Friday, bro. Like, it was hot.
Waiting in line.
My body was warm. I was just.
I think people don't realize that like when you cut it with scissors with like a fucked up trimmer, it's basically sharpening the hair.
The hair.
So like when you cut it, it's just like a straight.
Bro, I was sitting in line for like I think my PS3 probably, and I was just like itching. I was like, I don't give a fuck. I was itching, bro. Fuck it.
Go get your Manscaped.
Get your fucking 4.0.
Imagine you had your hand inside.
I did.
And you were doing that, and we were like, what the fuck is he
doing?
Bro,
I was like sitting down, and I was like this. Like I was itchy. Fuck them.
Go get your Manscaped, guys. Think your holiday spread is good?
Oh yeah.
It's time to give thanks to Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0, or as I like to call it, the perfect package for your package.
That's right.
Inside, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, weed whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, crop preserver, ball deodorant, crop reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. Think of it as a cornucopia for your balls. The Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. It also gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave, plus it's waterproof. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker to chop your worst weeds up, top in your nose and ear. This nose and ear hair trimmer uses a 9,000 RPM motor-powered 360-degree rotary I was doing so fucking good. Rotary dual blade system to provide proprietary skin safe technology, which helps you prevent snicks, snags, tugs, and in those delicate holes.
Isn't it 360-degree rotary?
Rotary.
Rotary.
Janiqua.
You know, this was, remember a long time ago when this was the cornucopia, remember?
Yeah, this was the cornucopia.
This is the cornucopia, yeah. Fuck, I was like, oh my God.
Oh, was that one where you could not?
I couldn't say cornucopia.
I forgot. I thought it was a different word.
There was another word, but the cornucopia one got
he literally had to say it
stumped.
like 20 times
shit
before he
pissed
got
me
it
off.
right.
Rotary. Okay, rotary blade.
Can't forget the Manscaped's liquid formulations. The crop preserver, bar deodorant, and crop reviver toner spray are like the pumpkin pie and ice cream after Thanksgiving dinner. Can't live without it. Your balls will be living in turkey heaven with these formulations. As if this wasn't enough, it's time to do the dishes with Manscaped's shower products. Lather some of Manscaped's refined body wash on their brand new signature body buffer and give yourself the lather and rinse your body deserves. Lose the loofah and exfoliate your mates.
Lose the loofah.
The loofah.
Guys, do you want your balls looking like a turkey's neck? Hairless.
No hygiene routine is complete without Manscaped's signature deodorant as well. A couple swipes of this and you'll be feeling oh so crisp. Gifting Manscaped is the ultimate hack to become the family favorite.
What is that supposed to mean?
I know, are we fucking our family?
Yeah, are we fucking our mother-in-laws or
Our tias?
Hey, I might be at Thanksgiving.
Our tias-in-laws?
Our tia. No, this man just said his tias.
That's why I said the tias-in-laws.
Yeah, but you fucked up the first time.
I did fuck up. Anywho, get 20% off plus free shipping with code I.E In Friends at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code I.E Friends. Be thankful this holiday season for the best gift of all from Manscaped. Your balls will thank you.
They really will. You won't be scratching your balls on Black Friday like I was, bro.
Yep. And
Shit
now,
was itchy.
back to the episode. Let's say I tell my parents, like, oh, I want to work with NASA.
Yeah.
And they probably just going to look at me like, oh, cool, nice. Go chase
But they
your
don't believe
dreams.
it's
But they don't believe
believable.
it. Did you ever have that like issue coming up with your parents? Like you're telling them like, what, I want to do this, I want to work like this. Or was this kind of something that came on later down the road? We're like, oh, I'm actually going to work for NASA.
I think in my case, I was very fortunate. I grew up in a single mother household. My mom was a teacher through retirement. And at home, I had no choice but to get A's, dude. The one time I got a B, I think it was in like second or third grade, which traumatized me, bro. Traumatized me. She took my Game Boy away for like a month and a half. And I remember that. Bro, that was painful. I was
remember that?
I was like playing my Pokemon Emerald or something. I was like, no, I can't play this for a while. I learned my lesson. So at home, academics were very important.
Okay, that's good.
And I think over the years, again, watching back in the day when History Channel and Discovery Channel wasn't just like Pawn Stars and Ancient Aliens, like they actually had good shows.
Cool shit. Yeah,
they had good shows on like war technology, the space programs. How It's Made was huge.
How It's Made was so
that
cool,
one.
bro.
So cool. So I'm just like, oh man, like they're doing some cool stuff. I was somehow able to say, these are just some people. Like I can be like them. And with the rigor that comes with academics, because at the end of the day, that's what it was about. I end up going through school. Tutors played a huge role in my life for sure. And there was always an expectation from my mom, even though like we left Ecuador when I was very young, because things went to shit there in the 90s. And things were shitty with my dad too. So it was always evident that education was going to be
Like the way out.
the way out of poverty and struggle. And even though my mom didn't fully understand, and even to this day, honestly, like she doesn't fully understand what that is like. We're still going through some struggles because it's not like poverty just disappears like that because one in the family did that. I somehow was able to push through. She was very supportive the whole time. She had to work many jobs, right, to kind of make ends meet. She didn't know English. She doesn't know English to this day. But she was always an example of perseverance for me and hard work and dedication and sacrifice and being selfless. Because a lot of the stuff she did was just based on faith and hope that things would go well for me. That lined up with my drive and my hard work and the examples. I think something I talk about too is the people I surrounded myself by throughout my life. I didn't recognize it at the time, but I was always very choosy as to who was in my close circle, and to this day, that's the truth. I like to think I'm the dumb one in my group of friends. Isn't that
like always like the good thing though? You want to be the dumb one in your group?
Bro, I have friends getting their PhDs, doing their MBAs, starting companies, running businesses, and it's just like, yeah, I'm the dumb one in the group, dude. And that's important because we all always influence each other and push each other, and we've owned. I mean, I'm far from making it, but we're on our way, right? We're on our way, and that led to getting into school, to applying to scholarships, despite being low income, minimal debt coming from school. I went to a big school and ended up at NASA through mentors and teachers and whatnot. So that's the story in a gist.
So like when you were younger, did you want to be NASA, or was that something that came up when you were like in middle school, high school or something?
Bro, okay, so this is going to sound weird, right? But in my college preparation, and in college, I think I was very empowered, again, by the group of people I was surrounded by, my mentors and teachers and friends. I chose NASA. It kind of like, I had options, right? By the time I graduated, I didn't just graduate scraping by. It's something I like to talk about the idea of graduating successfully. I graduated with my diploma in my hand, with my undergraduate and my master's, and options, right? Cool. Like, what do I want to do? What's kind of the, like, who do I get to go to? And they can't refuse me.
Like, you know what you bring to the table.
But I was taught that. It's not like, that I just walking around thinking I'm the shit. I prepared. I worked really hard, and I had some great mentors that led to the decision making for that. So I had a variety of experiences in undergrad. I did internships at GE Aviation, at SpaceX, at Boeing. I've done a variety of things by the time I graduated. So when I graduated in 2016, NASA JPL in particular, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, by the way, in Pasadena, if y'all haven't been, it's an hour drive. Y'all should go.
Check it out.
It's there. They were building this rover. There's a need for a particular set of skills, and it lined up with my interests. And it so happened that my manager was Hispanic, so that was pretty dope. I met them at a convention for SHIP, the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. And the rest is history, man. Then we built this thing and sent it to Mars.
Now you got
cool. Man's built the Mars. Built the Mars Rover.
It's so dope to hear that you had options, man.
Yeah.
So like your options, what you just said, were basically NASA, Boeing, SpaceX,
well, kind of whatever I wanted.
That's right. And that's kind of like the great message you want to put out to people is like you work hard and you don't have to like bow down to anyone. Yeah. Like you make your own rules.
I think that's very important. And there is something to the process because I hear it that people apply like 50 times or they apply to like 500 like applications, and I'm like, fam, slow down. You don't need to do that. There is a certain degree of focus. It's not wrong to do that. Like that, if that leads to the path that you're gonna take, it's okay. Like you do you. But there are ways that, as I like to say, it's like, why are you living on hard mode? Like there are ways that you can make things work. There's a level of preparation you may have to take. You're always just competing against yourself. And that idea of creating the options for yourself, at the end of the day, as corny as it sounds, it's like, that's kind of what the American dream is about, right? And you end up creating a lot of options. They line up with a little bit of luck, and your hard work will pay off.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, and it's super cool, especially you saying that you called yourself the dumb one out of your friends, but really you got the Mars Rover. You helped send the Mars Rover. You said you helped engineer the Mars Rover and you helped send it up to Mars.
So I worked in the testing program in particular. So as you're building the thing that's going to fly, the thing you're going to put on a rocket and ultimately send to Mars, you're also building the Earth equivalent. And you want to keep the thing you're sending to Mars as pristine as possible for a variety of reasons, including cross-contamination. And when we can talk about the idea of finding alien life, we're going to get to that in a bit. Yeah. But you want to keep you want to keep that rover as pristine as possible. So you build an equivalent that you run all your crazy tests on. That you can go in and learn how this thing works, learn how all the different subsystems interact. And not only do you make sure that the computers and the sensors and the instruments work, but also you use that to test the people, right? Because the other big aspect to that whole rover system is the people that have to use it. And building all the tools so that once you're on Mars, you can interpret all that information, that you can get all those images and decode it and do science with that. So I was part of the team that put together that Earth equivalent, did a lot of the testing for a variety of subsystems, including the Mars helicopter. Right? That's the other part.
Mentioned, so there is a helicopter on Mars?
It's the first time in human history that we have flown anything outside of Earth.
That's crazy.
So, and you gotta take a step back when we say these things. It's just a little more than 100 years ago.
Why haven't we heard about this?
Yeah.
Bro, go follow me on Instagram.
No, like I would think that'd be like something on the news, like, oh, this just in, you know, the first helicopter. Like, you know, like
this should have been
that's
part of
something
Primer
huge. Like, it's first time in history.
Hey,
like, come on.
To that point, right? Like, to that point, our Univision and Telemundo, I will say, it was the first time ever that there was a full coverage in Español for Mars 2020. Diana Trujillo led that effort, where we had the entire mission when we were launching and landing on Mars. The whole thing was in Spanish for the first time.
That was crazy.
NASA en Español really has a great team. They're homies. They always hit me up for different things. Okay. But yeah, the media and doing outreach with all these things. There's also a lot of things going on, right? Like the rover happened. We launched it in the middle of the pandemic, which is its own. Deviate into these things, right? We launched it July 2020. The world's fucking falling apart.
Yeah, you launched it like right in the like crazy part of
the world is going bananas at this time. And just like everybody else, we're figuring it out. Like when the lockdown happened in like March of 2020, we're just like, oh shit, are we gonna be able to launch this thing in time? And you know, typically in our day to day, you answer to your bosses or to yourself or to whatever deadline you have. That's at the end of the day pretty arbitrary. Something like launching to Mars, it's the universe literally dictating when we can launch to Mars, because the rockets that we currently have, because of the way the planets align, we can only launch to Mars every 26 months. And we have about a month window. So if we miss that,
gotta wait 26 months.
We have to wait 26 months. And what does that mean? That means we need $500 million to keep the program running and people employed and things like that. So go ask your boss for an extra $500 million. By the way, that boss is the United States Congress. That you need that money, otherwise like things go to shit.
And during a pandemic.
And during the pandemic. So we had no choice but to launch this damn thing July 2020. And we made it happen. Like it was impressive what we were able to do. To me, it's always going to be a huge honor that I was part of that team. Because we adapted pretty quickly. I will say it was like a week or two of like chaos. And we're just like, oh, like what the hell is about to happen? But we quickly adapted. We did a lot of working from home adaptation. We managed to push through. I never stopped going into lab personally. So we had to be there with the hardware, putting things together, swapping cables, doing all this stuff. And we launched. I actually flew to Florida to see that because I was like in the middle of the pandemic. I'm like, I can't miss this.
Yeah, you can't.
Gloved up, double mask, the whole thing. I remember just like all protective.
Yeah.
My mom lives in Florida too, and I have some family down there. So it was one of those things like, yo, we need to see this together.
Yeah.
It was only my second rocket launch ever. So I was there. The day couldn't have been more beautiful.
Yeah.
No clouds. It launched at like 7 something in the morning. We got to the beach at like 4 a.m. A bunch of my friends flew into the part of that circle that I'm talking about.
Cool.
We were all there at the beach, yeah, and we saw this thing launch, and that was kind of the first part of it, because then we met the launch window, but now that has to fly through space for like 8 months.
Yeah.
It takes about 8 months. So to make sure this thing stays alive and in the correct trajectory until we landed February of 2021.
Oh.
And that was a lot of effort. In the meantime, there's a lot of work that had to be done. So we prepared to get to the surface of Mars as a team, because we still have to figure out how to operate the thing like once we get there. And space is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And space is freaking huge.
Yeah.
To put it into context, by the time the rover is getting to Mars, the signal one way to get from Earth to Mars for this particular mission was about 11 minutes. Right? So one way, you send a command, it takes 11 minutes to get there. To hear back any kind of data, telemetry, or whatever,
shit. Okay.
it takes 11 minutes back. Oh. By the way, it takes about 7 minutes to get from the top of the atmosphere to the surface. Okay, so by the time we were hearing for the first time that we were entering the Martian atmosphere in real time,
You were already on.
that thing has already either landed or crashed
exploded.
Wow.
on the surface
my
of Mars.
God.
So there's a reason it's called the 7 minutes of terror.
That's what they call me.
There. Hey.
I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad
Yo,
thing.
pause. Everyone, this seems like so intrigued by your story.
Terror for who?
Bro, I was imagining that thing like blowing up in my head.
And I'm out here thinking about other things. Cochino.
Cochinos, bro.
Cochino.
What's the math you guys use for all of this?
All the maths, bro.
So you guys are the only ones that use all the maths.
You got algebra.
So we're
All
talking
the
about
maths.
algebra, theoretical math,
Geometry.
all this stuff.
Well, there's a lot of probability.
Probability, okay.
There's a lot of calculus, discrete mathematics. Yes, at the end of the day, a lot of algebra and trig that you do
What's
day
that
to day,
thing called?
for sure.
You probably know what it is. It's like we learned it in high school or junior high. The A plus 4BC plus with the little parenthesis. I forget the name of it.
Quadratic
Yeah,
formula.
do you guys use that?
That's a way to solve equations.
Okay, so
I
it
mean,
is- so it is useful.
So it wasn't
is
useless
useful.
at a certain extent.
bro, math is really important.
Yeah.
Because let's talk about investments. Like,
Oh, yeah, that's
you need to
true.
be able to do a little bit of calculations to figure
Yeah.
that out. But before I divert,
Yeah.
but that whole sequence to get from the top of the atmosphere to the surface is, no one's joysticking this.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
So
dang.
it's all
It's
automated.
all right, because it takes 11 minutes, right?
How do you get? Oh, that's okay. I don't know how
That's
you
the
get
math part.
Yeah, that's
So
the-
that's
what I'm
where
saying,
that's
so, like-
where that's where all the testing that I'm talking about comes into
okay.
play.
One that
right?
they did on the Earth.
So this, what's the thing that's called that's landing it? The rover. What's landing the rover?
The descent stage.
No, like with the equipment you're using to land this rover. What is it called? Because I know the rocket, if the whole thing goes up, I know like doesn't it like
The
basically-
rocket separates. Yeah,
Yeah.
you end up by the time the rocket separates and
and it's in the atmosphere. It's all in space. What is that part called?
now we have the spacecraft.
Just a spacecraft. Okay, so
Yeah.
the spacecraft is the
But
one
the
landing
spacecraft and maybe we can show some visuals. I don't know how much editing you do, but
Yeah, I got
it
you.
does look like a cone with the sphere. It's like
Yeah,
a
okay.
cone with kind of like to keep it simple. Basically, it has a heat shield, and that's traversing through space.
Yeah.
By the time we enter
Martians.
the atmosphere, you start deploying different things.
Okay.
So as we're entering the Martian atmosphere, we're going about 12,000 miles per hour. So that's like a bullet, faster than
it's
bullets.
stupid
So you're
fast.
going. So in 7 minutes, you have to go from 12,000 miles per hour to 0 miles per hour safely. Right. So the way it happened for this mission, you kind of come in and you slow down enough with the atmosphere. This heat shield is protecting you. That heat shield gets hot. It gets to the same temperature as the surface of the sun. It gets pretty hot because you're coming in, you're basically hitting all this gas, this atmosphere on Mars. At some point, that'll slow you down enough, and you're kind of coming in like an airplane almost. You then deploy a hypersonic parachute. That, by the way, the atmosphere on Mars is super thin. So here on Earth, have y'all ever done skydiving?
No.
Yo, y'all got to do skydiving, bro.
I've been wanting to. My
Sign me
parents
up.
did. I've been wanting to.
Just don't tell them. That's
No,
what
no,
I did.
no, no.
Just
I'm
don't
saying
tell-
like.
Oh, your parents did?
My parents did, yeah, but I've been wanting to
Wow.
too.
Damn.
Bro, when I did it, I didn't tell my mom, but I showed her the video.
Yeah,
She almost
afterwards?
killed me. But you know, here you deploy a parachute and
you go
you
up.
slow down. You slow down, right? Like you can comfortably ride down.
Yeah.
On Mars, that just would not happen because there's not enough air.
Oh.
So that parachute only slows down the whole thing to about 120 miles an hour. So at this point, you're still coming in freaking
Yeah.
fast, right? You're if you don't slow down somehow,
Crash.
you will crash. So you let go of the parachute, you let go of the heat shield because now you're using some cameras that are on there. So it's basically a big like cover lens, and it just kind of deploys, lets go. And then this whole thing comes off, and now you turn on the jetpack.
Oh,
The
okay.
jetpack will help you get close enough to the surface. So now from 120 miles per hour, you're coming down with the jetpack. It's the
down.
descent stage. There you go. Something like that. And you're gonna be in for a treat if you think this is as cool as it gets.
That's badass.
You get to about, I think it's like 40 feet in the air because you see those plumes, right?
Yeah.
If you come down with those plumes, you're just gonna raise all the dust, which can screw up your
Oh, like it can go inside,
cameras,
like,
your
the stuff.
lenses, your mechanism.
Yeah.
everything.
Uh-huh.
So this whole crazy technique they came up for this rover, this jetpack comes out at about 40 feet, and then there's a tether. It's kind of like a crane. It's called the sky crane maneuver. It deploys the rover. Wheels kind of deploy themselves like a transformer. And it touches down. Then the descent stage cuts off the tether, flies away, crashes pretty far, and then that's it. You're safely on the surface of Mars.
Oh,
Wow.
Yes,
We went through that experience together.
So it was crazy to live through that because again, we're just seeing numbers and data come
Yeah.
our way. But like once we heard from the operators, I was in an area called the Mars Yard, which we can talk about. That's where we do a bunch of our testing. The operator said touchdown confirmed. And I have a video of this on Instagram. Like we're
Going crazy.
partying, dude, like straight up partying, crying, everything.
Pain everywhere.
Maybe not. I can't confirm nor deny that that's what happened. But then over the next few days, we got to the surface of Mars. We're kind of doing some basic checkouts, making sure nothing broke on the way, making, instruments are okay, cameras are okay. We're getting some of the first images. Over the next few days, we end up getting footage because guess what? We tacked on basically some sport cameras. So there's actual footage of what this whole thing looked
cool.
like for the first time in history. So
Yeah.
we relive it, and now it's like
Now it's in HD. You can see.
HD. So I don't know if look it up. That's maybe homework, but the video is insane.
See if you can find it.
Yeah, let's find it.
If
So-
you look up Mars 2020,
How big is this rover?
entry, descent, and landing? The rover. The Perseverance rover and the Curiosity rover are about the size of a van.
A van?
Yeah.
What's the
yeah,
size
yeah.
of the first original Mars rover?
Is this guy?
smaller,
that,
right?
that was for later.
Pull
We
it up.
got some aliens on the screen.
This is Aaron and I dressed in alien costumes. No, I'm just playing.
What's the size of the original Mars rover? It's
So-
a lot smaller, right?
So, well, there's a little bit of history here. And man, I was wearing my hat yesterday. I posted this for Latitude, which we'll talk about later. But the first rover we sent to Mars, it's called the Sojourner rover, named after Sojourner Justice, which is an abolitionist. Great story. But it was a small rover about the size of a microwave. And that was just to prove to ourselves. We launched this in like 1997.
Yeah.
To prove to ourselves, can we even use a rover on Mars? What does that even look like? Because Mars is far. We had never talked about these distances. How do you program something to operate on its own on Mars? So that mission was very successful because of that. Then in the early 2000s, 2004, I think, we landed with Spirit and Opportunity. So those were about the size of a golf cart, and they had solar panels.
Yeah.
Both of those twin rovers were supposed to work for about 90 sols, 90 Martian days. We'll talk about the differences between a day and a sol in a bit. Both of those, Spirit lasted 4 years on Mars. 4 years. It was only meant to last 90 days. It was only designed to do things for 90 days, but it did a lot more. Opportunity lasted until 2018. And the only reason Opportunity passed away is because in 2018, by the way, I recommend anytime, especially because you guys are in this area, follow the LA Astronomical Society. They have these events called Star Parties, and it's a bunch of amateur astronomers that come out with their telescopes, and they'll point telescopes at Mars, at Saturn, at Jupiter, and you see them. Oh. So Mars in 2018, I had the opportunity to look through a telescope and see it. Mars, typically you can look at it, and it's like you see all these different colors, like red, all these different features. Like you can tell that it has a surface. Back in 2018, it was an orange blob. And that's because there was a planetary dust storm. So that dust storm covered the solar panels on Opportunity. The batteries couldn't recharge. It ultimately froze. R.I.P. Oppie.
Yeah.
Documentary just came out on it on Amazon Prime. Highly recommend it. Super emotional. It's called Good Night Oppie. Go watch it. A bunch of my colleagues are in it.
It's making it sound like a human.
But
the human soul, the human history is in it.
People in a way, right? Like these missions take like 10 years to design and build, right? And then they take time to go to wherever they're going, and then you have them for another 10 years. Yeah. So there are instances where I've seen college. It's like a kid for many people. Yeah. One of the most emotional missions I think that I've seen the closure for was the Cassini mission. That one ended I think in 2015. This was a mission on Saturn. It was an orbiter, a satellite that goes around Saturn. Really crazy images. If you see images on Saturn, it came from this thing. Beautiful. But that mission, I think it was like sometime in the 90s, but it took like 10, 15 years to plan, build the whole thing. Then it took like, I think something like 6-7 years to get to Saturn, because that's how far Saturn is. Oh. And then it was operating for X amount of time. I don't remember these things off the top of my head. But this is like a career for a person. This is 20, 25 years just working on this one thing. So to that point, it's like when in 2015, the very last thing they did was that they crashed Cassini into Saturn because like it didn't have any more fuel. And instead of risking it, like going off and crashing into one of the moons on Saturn, which some of them have potential for life. They just crashed it into Saturn and it burned up. But like, there's videos and it's like people are crying because like,
it's
their baby. It's their baby. It's their baby, right?
Wow.
So yeah, it is watching these things. Yeah. It's like it is like watching your kid. It's like,
and I just thought that was cool. I mean? Like that was funny. Like the title is Good Night Opie. Like
Good Night Oppie.
Yeah,
cool. And they get nicknames, right? They get these nicknames.
So the ones you guys sent, it's only one rover or it's two rovers?
This is one.
So right now there's only one actual working rover right now on Mars.
There's two. There's Curiosity, the one that came right before this. And that one landed in 20. So this is like real footage from Mars from the rover as we're going through, by the way.
Oh wow. Looks like Arizona.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Red Rocks, the Red Rock Mountains over there by like Nevada.
But yeah, this is what it was going through. And you see that in the bottom, what I was talking about, right now it's on parachute.
Oh, okay.
Still going.
The jetpack's not on yet.
Not yet. And you're gonna see that.
Okay.
You're gonna see that. It's freaking bananas.
Yeah, okay.
But right now it's still slowing down with the hypersonic parachute.
Yeah, I'll go forward just a little bit.
And this is still going, you said like around 12,000 miles per hour?
With the parachute, it goes down to like 120.
My bad.
So right now, the jetpack is on. But you're about to see it. Don't worry, you're about to see it. They're about to show it.
Oh wow!
What
so it's slowing down. It's getting pretty close.
Looks like skin.
It's using
that was a foot,
because there's a lot of different features, right? So we're getting pretty close. Here we go. It found a place that's safe enough to land.
Oh, I thought we were closer.
Now you start seeing kind of the fumes, right? And now from the rover,
about to conduct the flight crane maneuver.
Oh,
what?
There's a jetpack.
That looks so creepy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
about 20 meters off the surface.
It looks like he's like into nothingness on the top screen.
Yeah.
It was like nothingness.
There are very little clouds on it.
Instead of going down, it looks like that screen looked like he was going up.
And then he just goes flies.
away.
Oh, wow. That's crazy, bro. That looks like some alien.
On the surface of Mars.
I thought he was going into heaven. That's what it looked like. It was just going to heaven.
Yeah, you want that. You want that shit to fly away
Yeah.
and crash somewhere else. You don't want it to crash to the
Wow.
rover. So, but that was
That's
real
badass.
footage
Yeah, that
from
was
Mars.
badass.
Right?
That's so sick, dude.
So all these missions, right? No,
Yeah.
to start getting clues. I want to get to the alien part, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
building.
yeah.
I'm building.
Yeah.
With the first little rover, we're just learning how to get to Mars, how to use a rover on Mars. With Spirit and Opportunity, we confirmed that on Mars there was water.
Okay.
The same way here on Earth, by the way, go to any river you want. Go to any river, pick up a rock. Bring your handy hammer with you next time you go to a river. Hit it, break it in half. You'll see most rocks that are by rivers are what are called sedimentary rocks.
Yeah.
Basically, they're layers. You can see that it's just like little layers that what they are is that they've built over time because as water has been flowing, material gets deposited and it's just
And
like
just
compacts
stacking.
over time.
I remember Earth
So-
Science.
Hey,
Earth science, yeah.
I hated earth science.
I'm not going to be bored.
But we found rocks just like that. So it's like, okay. And if you look at Mars, like we were just looking at it, it's like, oh yeah, like a river flowed through here. Like you can kind of see, like a
interesting.
lake obviously flowed
So you guys
through
have
here
proven
at
that
some point.
Mars has had water on its surface.
There was at some point in history liquid water on Mars.
Can you guys
That's
ever-
confirmed.
Can you guys ever figure out when that was, or is that kind of
There
impossible?
are ideas because you can do that with geology.
Okay.
You know, kind of study like when rocks were formed.
Yeah.
You can kind of ideate around what time.
But you guys
there
have
was
to
water.
actually have a rock from Mars to like do
That's
that? Or
our
can you-
rovers. We'll
Collecting.
get to that. Our rovers have the instruments to kind of help us do some of that study because at the end of the day, these rovers are geologists on wheels. But we confirmed, we confirmed water once flowed on Mars.
Yeah.
Nice,
And today
okay.
there is water, but it's frozen because Mars is pretty cold. But there is subsurface water, and like there are pictures where we like scooped just a few inches, and it's like, oh, that's ice. Like
Oh,
that's
cool.
pretty clear. And then with Curiosity, which landed in 2012, using the same technology that we just saw here, that confirmed organic material. Organic materials are things that are made out of carbon or that have carbon in them, are building blocks of life. But organic materials can be a process of biological things, of living organisms, or they can be just rocks that were scratching over each other over many years and you all of a sudden have new things. So it's a geological process or biological process. We don't know, but on Mars, there's organic material. Now with this rover, for the first time, we're actually trying to directly ask, is there any evidence of ancient life on Mars? And how are we doing that? We're actually finding rocks in this area called Jezero Crater. And that's where we landed. Where scientists are determining, okay, this rock that's made out of these things, water flowed here. If there was ever life on Mars, we're going to find evidence in these rocks. So scoop a chunk of this rock and put it in a titanium tube and seal it. Because the next mission is going to go pick up those samples and bring them back to Earth so that we can actually conclusively do studies here.
Ooh.
So, and that's just in early 2030s.
Yeah.
So we're probably a decade away from knowing
Ooh.
if
There's-
there was anything ever on Mars. But here's the thing: if we can conclude that life independently happened on Mars, then your imagination is the
Can still
limit.
go wild,
What
yeah.
the hell can happen
Here.
anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say you guys do figure out that there was life on there. Let's just say.
Sure.
Will your guys' next mission basically be how can we get people to live
Mars.
That's actually part of the mission. That's a separate problem.
there? Oh, you guys are already doing that right now.
That's a separate
That's Elon
problem.
Musk's task.
no, I know, but
hold on.
That's your boy.
No, this rover has an instrument because one of the things about the atmosphere on Mars is that it's primarily it's very little of it. First of all, there's not a lot of atmosphere, there's not a lot of air, but the little bit of air or atmosphere that exists on Mars is mostly made out of carbon dioxide, which obviously for us, we can't breathe that in.
Yeah.
And also like our lungs are not tuned for that. So if we ever when we make it to Mars, those spacesuits have to be pressurized. Like people will need oxygen, but we're learning how do we use that atmosphere. and transform it into oxygen. There's an instrument on the rover called MOXIE that's showing us exactly how to do that.
Ooh,
Now,
nice.
it's a small system and it doesn't create too much oxygen, but it is now proven that if we scale the technology that's on this rover to a much bigger, let's call it a factory for all intents and purposes, we would be able to use the atmosphere on Mars so that you and I could go there and like refill our gas tanks
while exploring.
and have oxygen and not have to bring it all with
Yeah.
us.
Wow.
Holy
So
shit.
that is a problem. It's a question that we're asking
Yeah.
and doing separately from trying to find life
Yeah. Okay.
or evidence of life.
dope.
I remember you mentioned when we first met a while ago, I was talking about like, or are there aliens in Mars or something like that? But you brought up a different moon that can actually have life. I think what you said was Jupiter's moon, or
Yeah. So there are some really good candidates in the solar system that could potentially also harbor life. If we find evidence of life on Mars, it's like, kind of sucks. Don't get too excited. If there was anything, it's probably a little bacteria. We're not going to find these dinosaurs or anything.
people walking
Just
around.
because, based on what we know, there was just never enough energy, basically, is what it comes down to, like there was here on Earth, to have complex life. But if anything ever formed, which there's a possibility, it was like tiny little bacteria or fungi or something like it. So that's what we're trying to figure out. But there's these other places in the solar system, including Europa, which is one of the moons on Jupiter, that has way more water than liquid water than Earth does.
and not frozen, like it's
And it's not frozen.
flowing.
There's a thick 10-kilometer layer of ice, but under that ice, it's a liquid ocean. What's there?
Yeah, what's in there?
We can only speculate. Like I know as much as you do because we haven't gone there yet. But there is a mission that launches in 2024 that's going to go and study this moon a lot closer. Then you have another moon, Titan, on Saturn, that has a lot of methane and has a thick atmosphere. And we're sending a really complex helicopter system to go fly through Titan. It's a mission called Dragonfly, and that's going to launch, I think, in 2026, something like that. But that's also a good candidate for
Finding
potential life.
Even with all the methane.
Yeah, there's places down deep in the ocean where you have these vents that are just basically mostly methane underwater, and you can find life there. So maybe there's something that could have formed independently over there. We don't know. Methane is, at the end of the day, an organic material, so it is building blocks of life.
But there is no life on the moon.
Unlikely, because there's first of all, there was never any evidence for that, and also
You sure?
there's no
That they know of.
Listen, there's no protection against radiation on the moon,
Except if
right?
you're a transformer.
Yeah, unless if you're Optimus Prime,
or if you're on the dark side of
if
the
you're
moon.
fully metal.
If you're fully metal.
But there's no protection there for life as we know it to
Yeah.
thrive,
So-
because there's no atmosphere, there's no magnetic field as strong as on Earth to protect you from the radiation from the sun. Radiation sucks, people.
Yeah.
Radiation
Tell that to
really
Putin.
sucks.
Yeah, tell that to
Earth
Putin.
is a beautiful place for a variety of reasons, including we are protected from a lot of radiation.
Yeah.
What's that one spot? Tell it to people in what's that one city that's fucking
The one that came on the Modern Warfare map, the one with the
no,
Ferris
the
wheel.
one that
Haven't played the latest
the real life the one that happened was it in Ukraine? No, it
Yeah,
wasn't
exactly.
Ukraine.
It's a Modern
Chernobyl?
Warfare map. Chernobyl. Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
people in Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Yeah, radiation sucks.
If there's no life in in the moon, why haven't we gone back? What are we so afraid
Because
of?
it was expensive.
Oh.
Who was paying that?
President.
Us.
Not the president, bro.
Taxes.
A Hollywood studio, Warner Brothers.
Listen,
Warner Brothers.
the lunar. So this is actually very important to talk about because a lot of people want to speculate all these crazy ideas, but at the end of the day, it costs money to go to space.
Yeah.
And in the 50s and 60s and 70s, at the end of the day, we were just trying to tell the Russians that we have a bigger dick than them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it
pretty
came
much.
down to.
The Cold
right?
War.
The Cold War was
we're better
the
than you.
driving factor
Yeah.
for us getting to the moon, because I don't know if you know this, but the Soviets beat us to everything.
Yeah.
They put the first animal in space. They put the first satellite in space,
satellite.
Sputnik. They put the first animal, the
Dog.
first human in space. They put a variety of things. They beat us in every way and form. They even got to Mars before we did.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It was a mission that only lived like 15 seconds, but
They did.
that sequence of things that you saw in that video, they did something like that
Yeah.
before we did. So the Soviets beat us in a variety of ways, and it was very scary at the time for the American public. Like, yo, there's like a Russian spaceship flying over us, and back in the communist scare, people were going bananas at like, oh my god, like the communists are gonna take over, and like we don't know what's happening. So there was this political push to get to the moon. And the reason the Soviets couldn't compete with that is because at the end of the day, we just had more money. It was a very expensive program, and it took hundreds of thousands of people to get there. I don't know if y'all have ever been to Florida, and I recommend it. Go take or Houston. They have one of these rockets there, the Saturn V, the rocket that took us to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking huge, and just like for me as an engineer to stand like and see this thing, and nowadays we use things like CAD, computer aided design software, like SolidWorks, and like we're designing and doing things on a computer. Back then they did all that shit by paper.
Oh wow. So just
and
like
they built
rows and
these
rows.
massive machines that got us to the moon. And it's mind blowing. But at the end of the day, we got there. We asked the questions scientifically that we needed to ask. We proved to ourselves that humans can get there. But there was no economic incentive to go back because we're just burning money. We're just pumping money and burning
it
money.
was basically pride.
It kind of was,
Yeah.
and it was just so expensive. And it's like this. It wasn't a sustainable model.
Yeah.
But that's where today comes in. Literally today.
Yeah, later
So
today.
you guys don't
Literally
have to create these
Literally
huge
today.
rockets anymore to get into space anymore.
Oh no, you still need gravity. Still sucks. Gravity is still.
So what's changed? Like, are you guys creating the same size rockets, or is it kind of like a little bit smaller now?
No, this rocket actually the rocket that launches today is more powerful than the Saturn V.
Is it
But
as big?
I think it's the biggest.
it's actually a bit shorter, but it's more powerful.
Okay.
You hear that, ladies? It just has to get a little funny sometimes.
Bro,
I think that's a perfect rocket that's going up.
That's a good
If you
rocket,
ask me,
yeah.
if you ask me,
It's a good
great
rocket.
I think it has the best personality. It has the best personality. All right.
I bet the design of that
I bet
rocket
the design
is
team was
beautiful.
very-
the interior.
Yeah.
It has
I
good
bet,
intent.
I bet Star 5 left
The
the astronauts
love that
wanting
was
more.
put into that. The love that was put into that was the best.
Yeah, 100%.
Wait, to go back a little, I mean, before you go, I'm so sorry. I was curious.
Bro.
'Cause I think I saw a documentary on that about the whole, space race thing.
Yeah.
Wasn't it until basically I think it was a Soviet scientist, or I forgot what he was, German or Soviet, that was helping the Soviets, that was very smart. Until he came to the US side, that's when everything started changing.
Well, it was a lot of the technology that came out of the space program came directly from Nazi Germany. Like
Yeah, there
that's the truth.
and they came from
It
It was
aliens.
a certain scientist who like
Victor
was
von Braun.
there you go, yeah.
He was a Nazi officer.
who had connections with aliens.
And once we won the war, there was a competition between the Russians and the Allied powers to take these scientists. And it's like, do we really kill them, or can we use what they know for our own gain? So yeah, Victor von Braun was a genius, but he was one of the big players responsible for a lot of these technologies that we used, including to get humans to the moon. But they were Nazis. They were straight up Nazis.
That's an interesting ultimatum. If you have a genius like that who can really help the growth of the world, but he was a Nazi and they did horrible things, do you kill them or do you keep them and use their knowledge?
And these are some moral questions
Yeah.
a little bit beyond my pay grade at the time. but the respective countries took the respective scientists, because all those technologies were being developed at the time for the war machine that was Nazi Germany. And honestly, we got there at the right time. They almost beat us for a variety of reasons. But yes, your short answer, yes.
He was a dick, but Victor came in clutch.
Victor came in clutch.
But you gotta understand that deep in our roots,
Yeah.
and
I want to
technological
send you the video so
developments,
you can like say like, you know what, this is right, because it was a very interesting document, because it's a channel I watched. Basically, it's a channel that basically goes through the history of like films that are based on true stories, and he basically breaks down like what was true, what's not, and like the history behind the whole movie, like the true history. And I think he did one about there was a movie about the space race. It was a movie about us in the Cold War space race.
Yeah.
And he's like, before I go into the movie, I'm gonna give you a breakdown of basically everything that happened for this point.
Sure.
And it was just like, that's why I remembered that he basically said like the U.S. was getting their ass kicked. But it wasn't until basically, they got the scientists from Nazi Germany who basically came in and just literally like fixed everything, basically changed everything that they were doing, and that's what really helped them a lot. I want to send you that video.
Please. There's truth to that. There's a lot of the missiles that the Germans were developing for the war efforts is what directly led to these rockets that we're using to this day. Because it's not like it stopped there, but that same technology, believe it or not, even the rockets used by SpaceX have this technology that comes from this time. Like it's not like it's new stuff.
It was innovative at that time.
Right. So these methods come from the war effort.
Have you heard those theories that the Nazis were working with aliens and they had hovercrafts? Have you seen those?
Why you got it? Why?
Listen, yes, because I have. I know what you're talking about.
God.
Hovercraft, for a variety of reasons, are inefficient ways of flying around, so don't get too excited.
Yeah.
But to all those conspiracies, the one thing I have to say is, like, especially working in a variety of projects that I have, sometimes it's really easy for us day to day to just think something greater than us is capable of building technology.
Yeah.
But humans are fucking smart.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say to that. Is like people and companies and money in the right hands can build some things that
very long way.
That you can't possibly imagine, and it may just be alien to you because you don't understand how it works. You can't grasp that new physical thing you're seeing, but humans are smart.
Literally, like that's a whole debate when it comes to ancient aliens. A lot of people are like, yo, like you have to have more credit in humans.
Yeah.
Because like
it pisses me off hearing that, like, oh, these aliens built these pyramids. Nah, bro, it was a ton of slaves.
Yeah. There's a bunch of brown people. Stand up. Yeah.
Stand up, bro. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's like people are really smart.
Yeah.
People can do some crazy things when you put your mind to it.
People are really evil and can make other people do crazy things.
And that with bad incentives. Yeah. People can have malice that does some crazy shit too.
So do you believe in aliens?
Personally, it would be dumb of me to think that we're so special in the universe because the universe is so massive. I think there's a level of humility that is required for us to accept that we're not that special. Period.
So you heard it here, folks. There's aliens. They're among us everywhere.
Hey, hold on. As my own person, it's like that is my belief.
Yeah.
As a scientist, there's still no concrete evidence.
Yeah.
So, but that's what these missions are trying to prove.
But as a scientist, you want it to like kind of be a little bit more realistic.
I need the evidence.
Yeah.
Right.
But what about the UFOs that have been like other files that they've been?
Listen, man.
I'm not giving you that much credit, bro.
All right. Since right now I'm unemployed. I can say whatever I want. First of all, it has nothing to do with NASA, right? NASA, everything NASA does is public, civil agency. We have nothing to do, or we had nothing. Well, NASA, I'm no longer there. Has anything to do with defense for the most part. There is, and you just got to pay attention to the news, right? Like, you got China, you got Russia claiming that they have these hypersonic missiles and these capabilities that can hit the United States whenever they want.
Yeah.
Why in the world would a company reveal in the United States that these UFOs isn't some technology that they put together in a lab, right? Like there is a narrative that can, if you put out some videos, you scare people because people believe in stupid shit, and it's really easy for people to fantasize like, oh my god, these are aliens.
Yeah,
bro. You have no idea what kind of technology. If the Chinese, if the Russians have these really capable things, this country's way richer.
Yeah, they've got some crazy things.
First of all, the government is one thing. But then you also have all these corporations they don't have to answer to anybody, right? They don't have to answer to anybody.
Free laws, yeah.
It's not even free laws, but if they have some tech that they can just fly under the radar, quite literally, like who's gonna catch them, right? Like I again, humans are smart.
Yeah.
When I see these like videos of UFOs, I'm like, bro, like someone out there has a cool ass drone that they're not talking about. So you think so? And it's like
the footage
that's
is
it.
What about the ones that have been released by like by people who are in the Air Force that have like
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. So like the footage is real.
It's
but
real.
Where it's coming from, that's
It's not
where we don't-
alien.
Yeah, it's not alien.
It's like
It's some dude with a lot of money.
It's
not-
not. It's Elon Musk driving his drone
I would
around.
say,
Bro, it's not Elon Musk.
I would say those videos, it's a possibility it could be aliens, or it's a possibility that's something that we haven't that they're working on that we don't really know.
Right,
about.
but there's also that aspect that like maybe it's alien. Like
Or-
no one is out here saying the opposite. But also like
it could also
unlikely.
be human.
Like this is
Yeah.
again a cool ass.
No, because have you seen like those
drone.
the most expensive stealth bombers, bro? That shit looks
Yeah.
alien as fuck. Look that shit
Exactly.
up.
Yeah,
I forget what it's
No,
called,
yeah,
but
the B2,
The
Spirit.
and they came out of
the
nowhere. too.
triangle,
Yeah,
the
they came out of nowhere.
Dude, that shit looks creepy. Imagine seeing that shit in the sky. I'd be like, that's a fucking
and
UFO.
they are actually the way the physics and the tech, the way that aerodynamics works is actually like it shouldn't be able to fly, but the way it flies is because you have some insane sensors and controlled platforms that allow you to fly these things that shouldn't fly, and then have all these stealth materials that hide from radar and whatnot. So there is, if that's technology from the 80s, 70s and 80s.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So now imagine
Jeez.
something we got
Imagine what it
nowadays.
is now, for real.
Imagine what they're working on now.
Yeah, because I mean,
Exactly.
the easiest comparison is something like this took us to the moon.
No. What took us to the moon is way
Smaller.
way less capable than what you have in your pockets
Oh
today.
my god,
That is wild.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, who said that joke? Someone said like the first Atari was basically where like our like fucking whole like what the moon was basically, what the people in NASA were using
machine.
basically like the same equipment as like an Atari.
Yeah, I mean, even lesser than that. The memory, the RAM capable on those things was like
That's
in the
wild.
hundreds of kilobytes.
Jesus.
What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So I have
So
a
imagine now, bro.
question.
The
Since
Atari
you-
was shit too.
Since you're in NASA, we're gonna
Yeah.
we'll just keep doing more conspiracies because they're fun. So is it true NASA started as they just searching the ocean? Is that like how NASA started? NASA started as an ocean program.
So there's a things. I guess supposedly it's fact, not even conspiracy, that the whole NASA was actually like exploring the oceans first.
And then they bumped into some mermaids, and they're like, "Nah, let's not do this."
So supposedly, okay. So NASA started off with oceans, and then for some reason, they changed to space, right? The conspiracy about that is
Okay,
that
let's hear it, 'cause I
the
don't-
conspiracy is
Yeah,
that
I don't know
they
too
got
many
so scared
conspiracies.
on what they found in these oceans that they just were like, "Fuck this, we're going to space."
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I don't know about that. I mean, the ocean is big, and I'm sure there's some scary stuff down there, but...
because I thought NASA was started because of JFK, because he was like, "Okay, we gotta beat the
Well,
Russians."
so, okay, let's talk about JPL. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory, this all is just literally, it ties back to the wars that we've had. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory started as a lab at Caltech that a bunch of students literally just
Started
needed
doing?
because at the time they didn't realize it, but they were inventing like what now is rocket fuel.
Oh,
So
what the
they had labs at Caltech and they were just literally blowing shit up. And their professors were like,
What a class!
their professors were like, all right, this is cool, dangerous. Go do it in this spot over here in the Arroyo, and that over time becomes what is today JPL. And that was in the 20s and 30s. This is before NASA even gets established. And as we start developing over time, that lab ends up they get rocket fuel done. For World War II, we need planes to be able to take off from platforms in the ocean. And at the time, they didn't have jet engines like we do today. So what they think of, it's like, let's use these wooden planes and strap on some rockets.
Yeah.
And that's how you start taking off. That eventually then builds a whole program. And then as the war ends, Jet Propulsion Laboratory actually exists before. At some point, I think it's in the 50s, NASA forms, absorbs this lab, absorbs a variety of other institutions, and you end up with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration that we know today that got all these robots to the moon first, eventually the humans to the moon, and all the other missions we've been talking about. So I don't know about this ocean side
No, yeah.
of things.
No, it is proven
'Cause-
false. Let's search it up right now.
As you
I'm like,
explain the whole
You know what the
I mean,
source?
I mean, we have NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric
The whole
Administration.
series of
but-
NASA started off in the oceans. First.
there is, you know where this conspiracy started, and it should have just ended right there.
But what is this?
Where?
A Newsweek?
What does it say? What does it say? What does it say? What does it say?
It came from a page called Meme Click Me.
Oh Jesus!
You found the
Hey, you know what's
article.
funny? This conspiracy is actually very huge.
Yeah, it's a huge conspiracy.
Bro, people are
But like,
dumb.
why?
Watch. Oh, right here.
People are bored and they choose to believe in whatever they
The
see.
claim was made by a TikTok video
Oh
posted to the
my.
platform by an account known as Memes to Click.
Bro,
People aren't that bright.
before we continue, can I take a minute break to go to the bathroom?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
yeah.
go ahead, go ahead. Wow, he's
Like,
gone.
who sees that? And
Wow,
like,
he's-
oh, this is real.
While he's gone, we're I hope you guys are enjoying this episode, by the way, and hopefully you guys like the science. I think it's very interesting.
Hell yeah.
Hopefully this is more interesting than your class.
Yeah.
But while he's gone, let's be fuckboys right now.
What?
I don't know.
I'm
I was hoping you guys would take over the fuckboyness right now.
Now I want to talk more about conspiracies. I want to really, let's see, what else we got? What else?
I want
Let's
to
get
talk
into
about Pluto.
some- okay, we're going to talk about
For sure, that's
Pluto.
my.
That's
my
when they
baby.
got denounced as a planet.
So far, I'm 0 for 2. He's been debunking both conspiracies I brought up, aliens and NASA.
Flat Earth is next.
Well, he didn't really
Flat Earth
debunk. He
is
didn't
next.
debunk aliens.
Well,
He also believes-
UFOs.
Oh,
He
okay.
debunked the
Yeah,
UFO,
yeah.
the UFO
I'm 0 for 3 right now on my conspiracies. You've debunked 2 of them. So the next one.
Think a little bit,
All right, flat Earth. Is the Earth flat?
bro. Okay.
You're gonna ask the dude who's probably seen it from out.
Well,
Come
hey,
on, bro.
so this is actually something I would love to do in more high schools because it's pretty easy. With about $1,000, I did this in college and it blew my mind how cheap this is. You can build, let's call it a spacecraft because that's really what it was, and literally use like a cooler, and you put a few holes, put a few cameras, including something like a GoPro, and then you get yourself a high altitude balloon. They're pretty cheap, and you fill that thing with helium, and you can go to 100,000 feet. And in your own little device that you've built, this thing will go far enough that you just see the curvature of the Earth. I did that in. I have the video. I need to pull this up.
built one?
I did that in Michigan when I was in school, and also like nothing is controlling this thing, so it's just kind of taking off real high. But for a hot second, it's like I got Detroit, the Great Lakes, and you could see just so clearly the curvature of the Earth because it doesn't take that much.
Yeah.
So for like $1,000, if you wanted to,
You can
just
see
build
the
yourself a
Earth.
GoPro, put it on a balloon, fly that thing, and you can see it for yourself.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get to it?
Wait, hold on.
The
I want to hear what he
The
wants to
GoPro
say.
lens has curvature in it.
Listen, did you take physics?
No.
Okay. So you know that class in high school that you should probably pay attention to, Physics 1? There are some basic things that you learn there that in order for the math to work, you literally need the Earth to be round. Things like gravity. The only way that happens, that's a way complex topic, is part of it is you need a round planet. And there's a bunch of really crazy experiments that were done 2,000 years ago. People in ancient Rome, Greece, our people in the Mesoamericas, like knew that, I can't explore the entire planet, but for this clock to make sense, shadows need to line up in a certain way, and the sun has to go around a particular way, and obviously the planet is round.
Yeah.
So bro, like that one's just like,
Bro, I think you need to write down some math on there.
Why
and
doesn't
just demonstrate why the Earth is round?
But
so
why
he
doesn't-
stops.
Why doesn't the water fall?
What do you?
what do you mean?
I'm just kidding.
I guess 'cause
I don't
Earth
believe, by the way, I don't believe the world is flat. I like being devil's. I like.
Have you ever seen a documentary about the Earth or flat Earthers?
Bro, they're crazy.
Yeah,
Bro,
they
that shit
got a
was
whole
interesting.
convention.
I was like, yo, kind of. I was like,
Yeah, I like watching it.
I was like,
I like watching it just because, like, let me hear what they got to say.
These guys think like the people from
bananas.
the movie Year One.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
No, bro, they knew the Earth was round.
But things like GPS,
Yeah.
right? Things like GPS, things like your cell phones, literally the only reason they
Because
work
the
is
satellites are
because
around
their
us.
satellites are going around the Earth at a particular time.
Yeah.
So it's like, yo, you use the internet, that exists because the world is round. That guy,
Yeah, they even say gravity doesn't even exist.
bro.
All right, so are you like big into sci-fi?
I'm starting to. I just finished watching The Expanse. You heard about that one?
But
Bro, if y'all haven't watched that, honestly, like, okay, I love geopolitics. Like, I'm out here always like watching the news and trying to follow world events. That show and that book, it's a series of
it's a
books.
book, yeah. I've never seen. I didn't think it was a show.
So it's a show on Amazon Prime.
Oh.
And frankly, the characters are the main characters piss me off, but the story and the lore behind them is bananas because it portrays the planet and how different societies form on Mars and the asteroid belt once that happens. And what does that look like culturally? What does that look like in terms of politics? Because now you have Earth, which is now ran by the United Nations, basically, as the central government. Then Mars is its own republic, but at first it was a colony of the Earth, and then they were like, we hate y'all, we're doing our own thing.
They did it again.
And then corporations start taking the asteroid belt, and you literally have massive countries for all intents and purposes on the asteroid belt. So what does it mean to be born on the asteroid belt and never experience Earth gravity? Like, people start
Breaking.
being they just change. Their bodies and their physiology is different. For example, if you're born in the asteroid belt as a human, you're going to be born in like a closed space, right? That's how you have an atmosphere because you don't have a planet. Gravity is not anywhere near strong as it is on Earth. So your body kind of gets adapted to that.
Yeah.
So if you have been your entire life in an enclosed space, you get the opposite of claustrophobia. Like these people,
You need to be closed.
you need to be closed.
Yeah.
If you were to throw them into
interesting.
a planet that doesn't have any atmosphere, they're like, or doesn't have like
don't know
enclosure
why
space.
they're
like,
breathing. They're very
right.
confused.
They'll freak out. It's like these things that you're like,
Mental.
oh shit, like you don't even think about.
Yeah.
The cultures are different.
Yeah,
Like the
it's-
Martians are literally, they have to think long term because they're trying to convert Mars into an Earth-like planet because it doesn't naturally.
That's where they
sustain
left
life.
from.
So it's like all the work they do takes hundreds of years. They won't even live it. Like
Yeah.
Mars, right? So it's a different mentality. The Earthlings have their classical, we're destroying the planet because we're capitalist and like use everything. But anyways, it's bananas. I love that show.
That's dope. Check it out.
I recommend it.
Yeah.
Yo,
I'll check it out for
something
sure.
that kind of blew my mind. You know what amber is?
Amber.
Amber, like the color.
Amber, like the
the
stone.
color?
The stone,
The stone,
right?
okay.
The stone.
Yeah.
So, nowadays, right? Like, when you think wealth, you think of like gold, maybe titanium, platinum, like these rare
Diamond.
earths,
Yeah.
diamond, right? All of that shit is extremely common in the universe, right? But amber only happens in places that have trees.
Ooh.
So in this show, for example, the people that have amber
They're
are
Billionaires.
the ultra
Billionaires.
rich because that's something you can only ever find on Earth.
oh.
So by the way, start saving amber
Yeah,
because
start
like
putting it
2,000
away, bro.
years from now, that's
Aliens
like,
are gonna need us.
My great granddaughter is gonna be on Pawn Stars. Like, hey, yeah, so my great
you know
granddad
what?
left me this. I'll give you $50.
And we're killing-
10
Bro.
years later,
Yeah.
$300,000.
And
bro.
we're killing
bro.
all of our amber. If you think about it, we want to get deep. We're killing the planet. We're killing our biggest resource. So
we'll be okay.
That's wild.
We'll be okay.
so-
but it's like that's something I hadn't even realized. I'm like,
Yeah.
like amber is like you kind of just
Stop putting that shit
whatever,
away, bro. I'm gonna have
but-
a chest full of it soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
You're
plant a
saying in
tree.
2,000 years, all our trees will be gone.
no.
In the movie, there's no more trees because it's like a dystopian.
They have trees. It's
Yeah.
kind of dystopian, but like the point is, amber happens after
Wealth.
thousands of
Yeah.
years that it's stored in like sap. Right. Anyways,
You actually know
collect
how
your
to
amber.
Yeah, go plant a tree.
Yeah,
plant a
collect your
tree.
amber.
That's wild.
That's sci-fi, dude.
Yeah, sci-fi's dope.
That was a good
So
one, that was
would
a good
Elon Musk be living on one of those asteroid belts, or would he just be taking all
Bro,
of them?
Elon, no. Send him to Mars, please.
Send him to Mars. Can he make it to Mars, you think?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, you can make it, but
Can he survive?
yeah, and come back, probably not.
Yeah, right now Elon Musk, he's he just bought Twitter, and this is the weirdest thing ever, bro. You can pay $8 for verification, and it kind of just takes away the whole reason for the verification.
Yeah.
Because now there's been a lot of news that looks real just because of the verification, and it's affecting many companies.
No, because all you gotta do is read it. Because when you go to the profile, it says this account is
verified.
it will
That's
say it.
after.
They
They
redid it. They
had to redo
so certain
it.
companies, certain people. Who was it?
I have a-
He said some big company said that the thing that diabetic insulin will be free.
Insulin will be
yeah.
free.
Bro,
The
their
stock price crashed.
Went down millions.
That's crazy. Billions. Yeah, they
Billions.
sold
It's
like that.
Same
Yeah.
thing with Lockheed Martin. There's been it's.
Bro, I should have done
Yeah,
a
yeah, there
Coca-Cola
it
one. Tweeted something. Waited 10
I think
seconds.
they did. They
boom.
were like, we're gonna re-add cocaine into a product.
Yeah.
Something
Everyone was
that.
like, yes.
I would have been like,
Fucking
Coca-Cola will be closing down tomorrow. Thank you for the amazing time, bro. And then be ready to fucking throw 10K on that stock once it hits the
I'll
ground.
I'll miss all the females. I'll be like, Sephora is now closing.
Yeah,
I'd be going there.
So that's some huge thing. What do you think about Elon Musk? You think
He has done a great job in hiring great people, but the man is bananas, dude. If anything, this has proven is that he's bananas.
he's been
Yo, SpaceX, the reason, honestly, and this is my opinion, whatever.
Just
The reason SpaceX does so well is because of Gwynne Shotwell. Do you even know Gwynne Shotwell? The president of SpaceX. She's amazing. She's the one who landed all the deals that have led to SpaceX being so successful. If, Elon has been one of the designers and chief engineers, he does know some of his stuff. I'm not going to say he doesn't. But when it comes to the business decisions and the reasons things have gone so well there is definitely someone like Gwynne Shotwell. And there, she kind of
under radar.
She's under the radar mostly. Like, I know her because I'm in the industry and like I look up to her. And Elon, if anything has shown is like even Tesla right now, I'm worried. I drove it in a Tesla. It's like, bro, like what's going on over here with all these things?
He just stops your car. I heard you talking
All
shit
of
on
a
the
sudden,
podcast,
my car just stops.
bro. Go wait for like the car wash scene, like a Final Destination.
I would want him to be like that, though. I would definitely want to be this rich person just under the radar.
But why is he not Batman or Iron Man though? What's his excuse?
But is Batman really who you want?
Iron Man.
When
I
you
guess.
think when you
I guess
think
Iron
about
Man's
Batman,
a lot cooler.
bro,
Iron Man's a lot
'cause
cooler.
Iron Man is cooler, but Tony Stark's actually a genius.
Yeah. Batman's just rich.
Batman just had people build his
Just
shit.
imagine Elon
yeah,
Musk
that's
just
true.
max you just just leaves.
But it leads me to that one topic we were talking about, how Batman just lets people die.
Bro,
Now he breaks their noses and
No, I'm saying he
just
lets
lets
people
them
die.
die.
No, I meant innocent people.
in a way, yeah. Yo,
Yeah,
Batman
because he never fucking gets rid of the villains. They always come back out of
He's
jail.
just
and they fucking
toxic,
kill
bro.
everyone.
Leave him
He's
alone. He's
toxic.
just
He
toxic.
loves the chase.
Yeah,
He's not a real. He's not
loves the
a,
That man is toxic.
he's
bro.
not a true superhero, man.
No, he's toxic.
Sometimes you just gotta get rid of the people that are just trying to cause harm all the time.
You know who is a true superhero though? There is a superhero. I'm actually surprised you don't know about this superhero.
Bro, I don't know about this.
Oh, that was who you were talking about?
His name is the Black Knight. Have you heard of the Black Knight, Aaron?
Batman,
No.
yeah, dude,
That's what I thought too. I was like,
the Dark Knight, the
He
Black
wrote
Knight.
down the Dark Knight. I'm like, are we talking about Batman today? Like,
no,
all right.
so the Black Knight satellite.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You know
oh,
what
you
I'm
talking about that conspiracy?
It's not a conspiracy. So let me say what it
It'll
said.
be
Are you talking about that
Fine.
image, that
Yeah,
one
so-
object that flew by that they never seen it ever again?
So the Black Knight satellite
He knows
conspiracy.
what I'm talking about. I knew it. I fucking knew it was that.
Piece of trash.
I was like, is it that one report supposedly where they saw this fucking black object in the fucking?
Their aliens are protecting the world, making sure meteors don't hit. It is.
I've heard about this.
Show the image. Show
Yeah.
the infamous fit.
Let me read it out first. Let me read it out
Now
first.
I know exact. Now I know what you're talking
still
about.
don't.
I've seen this.
I was like, damn, he said, I'm like, isn't that one?
I still don't. I'm
So
excited.
the Black Knight satellite conspiracy theory claims that a spacecraft of extraterrestrial origin is near polar orbit of the Earth,
Show the image.
and that NASA is covering up its existence and origin.
NASA doesn't.
This conspiracy theory combines several unrelated stories into one narrative.
Show the image, please.
I'm bringing
if
up
it's
the
the one I
image.
think it is, if it's the
Bring
one I
it
think
up.
it is,
It's a spacecraft.
This is
Protecting
This is something I think I saw when I was like in middle
the
school.
planet.
I saw that shit in middle
What
school.
is this, bro?
It's just
I saw that shit in
floating.
middle school. They said they only seen it once
So-
and it's never been seen again.
Bro, where did they get this picture from?
Bro, I don't. You
NASA.
can
International Space Station. Listen, if
NASA's trying to cover up, why would they send
but
a
also
picture?
like you can just go on YouTube right now and like put up the ISS live feed, and you can see things floating in space.
That's cool.
Yeah, YouTube has like a live thing of like.
There's a live camera on the
Isn't that
International
small?
Space Station that you
Yeah.
can see the Earth like.
Or
Is there
maybe it's
anyone-
inside a
is
Warner
there
Brothers
anyone in there
studio,
right now?
bro.
Is anyone at
Stage
International
5,
Space Station right now?
1.
Yeah, we have astronauts. there. Yeah.
Do we have that
But
on there?
the UN shares it, right? Like the United Nations shares it. So any restaurants
It's,
for anyone should go.
no, it's operated by NASA,
Oh.
but it is
like Gear Rig,
co-operated
that's
with
it.
the Russians.
Oh, okay.
So they have specific subsystems they operate, and so does NASA, and we collaborate on there.
Y'all be
Yeah.
collabing.
So only American and Russian astronauts are allowed on there.
Americans, Europeans,
Okay.
basically
The UN.
Okay.
not the Chinese.
This is a
Okay.
fun question to ask. It's kind of scientific.
Sure.
Could you fly that thing you said that goes up in space that high? Just because I don't know how high that is. The
balloon?
The balloon.
A high altitude
He said
balloon?
100,000 feet.
At the end of the day, it depends on how big the balloon is, because eventually it pops.
Yeah,
just because of the pressure and the way it
Pressure,
works.
yeah.
But I flew mine at 100,000 feet.
So hypothetically speaking, if I get it right,
that is probably
I could come out on the scene
That's in
on
space.
the.
That's in fucking space.
that's probably something like 500, 600
God damn it.
kilometers.
God damn
So that's
it, that's
pretty,
pretty far.
out
Yeah.
there, dude.
God damn it.
So this is
I thought
not
it was
an
gonna come
alien?
out on the
If
feed.
it's polar orbit, it's pretty up there.
So this isn't an alien protecting us?
Bro, it's space debris. There's so much garbage in space.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So that's actually a big thing.
Bro,
too.
look how
It
many
doesn't-
pictures have been
So,
created from
can
that
any of this
one.
garbage just automatically fall into our
does.
atmosphere?
Yeah.
But it burns up
It
before.
burns in. It just burns up.
Oh, okay.
Because I mean, again, as you're coming in so fast,
Yeah.
you generate a lot of heat because you're just basically crashing against gas and atmosphere. So most of the stuff just burns up.
So since we're here to,
And also, oceans are big.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
So more often
Scary.
than not, these things just crash into the ocean.
So how does
yeah.
so when the astronauts were coming back from the moon, it was just the heat shield that was protecting them basically from
Yeah.
all the, okay.
that's crazy.
What do you
Scary.
guys- what do you guys
There
create
have been
those?
failures. I don't know.
Holy
There have been missions,
shit.
and that's the thing that we got to take into account as especially now as we are going back to the moon and we want to go to Mars. Back then, a lot of people died both on the American and even more on the Russian side because we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Yeah.
So we were learning a lot as we were developing these technologies, and it's like nowadays, is it worth killing people
Just to go to the
over
moon?
these things? No, which is why things like this Artemis mission, there's a leak. Hold up, like we need to make sure
Yeah, like, I've
we're
seen
not
them
going to blow up the
blow up.
rocket. Like
Yeah.
we need to make sure that these things won't kill people.
Yeah.
Because this stuff is hard. Going to space is really hard. And it's like, at the end of the
And
day,
it's
it's like
very
miracle after miracle after miracle has to work at the right time or your shit will blow up. And
Or you'll be stuck in space like Apollo 13 or 14. What was it one? Which was the one that got stuck?
I don't think anything got stuck. They all came back down.
No, but they
You're watching movies.
That was like no, it was an actual thing that happened.
There was one where they didn't quite make it all the way to the moon.
yeah, that's why they had to come back.
Yeah, they had to
Yeah.
come back and
But they were in space
MacGyver
for
a
they
bunch
were in
of
space for a
shit.
bit, and I know
days.
the shuttle they were in was messing up because of course they were freezing in space, and then
They would run out of gas.
yeah.
You had to just come
all
back.
that
in
actually
some way, form.
happened.
Yeah, and it's scary stuff.
Yeah, and it, like literally, like you said, it had miracles had to happen for them to come back safely because like
Yeah.
then they have to, what did they have to create inside the
I
shuttle?
don't remember, but it was something I think with their pressure chamber.
Yeah.
So to keep the air for them to breathe.
So
One mission fucked up and they literally had to like they almost died.
People died in the rockets before they didn't take off because the rockets blew up.
yeah, those
Like,
things look crazy. I've seen videos.
Oh
of
yeah,
those
that one.
things.
I remember that
It's
one
terrifying.
with the that was sad. The mission with those
teacher.
two teachers that won the.
Well, that was one of the space shuttles. Two space shuttles were lost because of
It was like right
a
after
variety of
takeoff.
reasons, but Columbia and Challenger.
Yeah.
Columbia in 2003, Challenger in 1989. So for me, the reason I know these is because we studied these like as
I
case
learned this.
studies.
From, I remember seeing that like in an 8th grade video. Like in
Bro,
8th
it's
grade.
tragic.
Yeah, it's-
It's scary.
It was the two teachers that won a contest, right?
I think it was one teacher.
One
I don't
teacher.
know why she won it, but it was going to be the first civilian in space.
Yeah,
that was the big deal. And it's
Yeah,
like,
she was a teacher.
yo,
Yeah,
like her
'cause, like,
students
she-
were watching her on TV, and she just
blew up right after takeoff.
That's crazy.
So no, that was a big.
And
big
they made a documentary on it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's crazy because, and this is the truth, even to this day in my job experience, the technical stuff, you know, the crunching down the numbers and designing and iterating, that's not the hard part. The hard part is people. The Challenger, the reason it failed was at the end of the day because in the chain of command, they weren't following protocol or recommendations from someone that said, yo, it's too cold. It was too cold. We shouldn't be launching today, but management was like, we need to meet deadlines. We need to meet this target. We need to make this happen. Launch. And if you look at the Challenger documentary, the engineer that called it, like it's this old man now. He's like devastated because like he didn't know what else to do. He spoke up. He was like, I told them that this was happening and these people died on their decisions on their watch, right? And as an engineer, I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, there's a reason I work with robots. Because robots are robots, but like working with people, it's fucking serious.
Yeah. The Challenger that was during the space race, right? That's the one.
89.
That was during the space race, though, or
I mean, the Soviet Union was on its way down, but at this point, it wasn't really much. But it was a space shuttle.
Because I remember watching that same documentary. There was like one where it failed right away too. Like right at takeoff, it failed. It was during the space race. And it was like, I guess, a big humiliation.
That was probably in the Gemini when they were developing the Apollo capsules that eventually got to the moon.
And then they just like completely exploded, and it was
people
like
died, bro.
It was a big hit for like for America because they're like Soviets are basically like making fun of us.
Right,
stuff.
people died.
Yeah. I heard this thing. I don't know if this is true, but I remember my one of my elementary school teachers.
Conspiracy theory.
It's not actually. I don't know.
Conspiracy theory.
It's my elementary school teacher brought this up. I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was United States or it was a European country, but the point is that we're working together on a project and they couldn't figure out the answer. Like they're like something was like shit was just kept going wrong, but that's because United States was Europeans were using the metric system, and then we're using the number system.
We have lost spacecraft over this.
Yeah.
There are several instances where there has been spacecraft lost in space because we lost them because we miscalculated and then our antennas shut off or something, but we lost it or it crashed. We don't know. I don't know. Maybe this one was specifically, there was a Mars. There was a series of failures on Mars in the early 2000s before we got to Rover, Spirit, and Opportunity that like people were doubting that NASA could land on Mars. One of those being the Mars, I think it was called the Mars Polar Lander. And it was this thing, and it may have been this particular instance with the metric units. I know one of them was a faulty sensor where like in this descent sequence that we were showing, the thing thought the legs deployed a little bit. They deployed when they deployed, and then that told the computer that it had landed. So like it was on its way down and it shut off its engines and crashed. That was a big failure. There was earlier in the decade, this was a European rocket that launched out of South America. They installed the sensor literally in the opposite way. So as the rocket took off, it literally just flips and explodes.
What the fuck?
This stuff is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And it's like, if you don't have different layers of review, things could go south very quickly.
Yeah.
So what do you guys use the metric system, right? Or
it just depends. It depends what we're talking about. It depends what we're talking about. But
what about like the whole landing process?
Mostly, I mean, it just depends who's doing the math.
You just have to be good at both, bro. Just
use what you need to do to communicate at the time. And the numbers are the numbers. They're just conversions.
Okay. Yeah, you just gotta convert them. Oh, okay, for sure.
It just depends.
These guys are smart, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I know, pretty sure. No, I just thought everyone was on. I'm thinking like the whole when everyone sees like the work and they're like, okay.
Well, you would put whatever.
You would think. No, I thought we'd be on the same page. Like, all right, we're going off kilometers, not inches or whatever.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends what we're talking about, but
yeah.
Different disciplines use different.
So where'd you go to school? Where'd you graduate from?
University of Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was there.
Any
Spartan? Is that Spartan?
Any steps or advice you could give to people that are interested in STEM, or let's say just NASA itself, or just any space thing, what type of classes or programs they need to take in order to like?
The question I've always wanted to ask people when I see them doing a cool job is, what was your major? Like, what was your like bachelor's major?
Classes, programs.
So I think also before we even dive into my specific classes is that there's not one right path.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just put that laid out right away. If you ask me, dude, honestly, to this day, I don't like math. Believe it or not. Wow. Like I write code that does math for me, but like math was hard for me. I managed to get through it because I had a lot of help. And again, I was a dumb one in my group of friends. So I had some good friends that helped me out. But a lot, specifically in engineering, things like arts are big, like they really matter. A lot of this stuff, a lot of these problems we're talking about, no one else in the world is dealing with these problems. Literally, it's like you have to be creative. So I grew up painting. I grew up with doing a lot of arts and crafts, if you want to put it that way. Painting was huge for me, though, painting and drawing. And I had a liking towards science and math a bit. I loved physics. I love physics to this day. There's some stuff that even now I can like sit down and all of a sudden it's like muscle memory. I'm like writing down these equations. I'm like, how the hell do I remember this from like 10 years ago? Yeah. But it's methodical. Things like math, I know a lot of people say it's really hard because it takes practice, man. Yeah. And I think the hard part of it is just the discipline required, because like none of us are, more often than not, we're not geniuses, bro. Like I can't do math in my head. Like I need a calculator. Yeah. But it's all these different techniques and things that you just have to sit down and put in the time. And that's just like whatever discipline you're in, right? Yeah. Like in anything, like you just got to sit down and do the work. Like no one's going to do it for you. Going to a place like Michigan, first of all, for me, it's like, I left home. I don't know about y'all, but like I needed to go kind of do my own thing. So my family at the time, I was living in New York City. I applied to a bunch of schools outside of the area. Part of it is because I was trying to run away from my girlfriend at the time, because like we broke up. It was pretty ugly. Yeah. But also like I just kind of wanted to go explore new cities.
Yeah,
it's going to college is a great opportunity to go explore the world beyond the world, you know.
Yeah, do your thing.
And do your thing. And best decision, because even to this day, some of the friends I made there are like,
there you go. Focus on yourself, kings.
Yes.
Stay away from that toxic girlfriend.
Yo, las tóxicas, bro. Don't
even entertain.
Do it, bro.
I hate seeing those comments. Oh, I'm sorry. I hate seeing those comments when like it'll be like you see a TikTok about, you know, they make the joke about the girl being toxic, and I see the comments, I wish I had myself a toxic. Like, no, fuck you
dude.
don't.
No, you don't, bro.
You don't want to
haven't experienced it. That's why you say that. Because they like, because they bring you the most, they care the most.
I hear that's romanticized. I hear that's romanticized. Like,
I hate that's romanticized. Like, it's because you have not experienced that shit.
Deal with one. Deal with one.
Yeah, go deal with one. Come back to me in 2 months.
Like, comes at, you never know when the right time is.
Yeah.
It'll happen. Like, don't force shit, is what I'll say to the toxicos and toxicas out there.
Do not romanticize toxicity, guys, please.
Bro, please. Do you grow? But to that, right? Like, going to college for me was a huge opportunity to explore the world beyond me. And I went to school as a low-income student, bro. Like, I was surrounded by rich kids. Like, that's the truth. These kids would, like, join the frats and the sororities and, like, pay these fees and go to these parties and have these clothes and have cars. I never owned a car. Yeah. First car I bought is literally in my garage. I'm trying to sell it right now.
Plug it in right here. Someone trying to buy a car.
Bro, if someone needs a 2014 Chevy Volt in pristine condition, hit me up. Great intro to electric cars. The only reason I got rid of it is because I got a Tesla. So like that's it. But
Elon Musk's gonna take it away from him soon, though.
Bro, yeah, don't tell him. He'll like hack my car. I can't drive it anymore. But anyways, like these things, right? I had a really great support network in school. Like I had to ask the College of Engineering for money to buy my first suit so I can go to college interviews. And that's, for example, something that people don't necessarily explore. It's like, I didn't have money to buy a suit, but fortunately I went to a school that has a lot of money, and I was like, yo, I need money for a suit. And they showed up. Like they really showed up. And similar to that, going to conventions and going to different opportunities, like the school, like paid, like they footed the bill so that I can get these opportunities and and learn and explore myself. Did research, traveled for the first time, like outside of the country, like for pleasure. You know, I wasn't escaping. I wasn't escaping as an immigrant. That was my experience. Like I traveled because like,
You want to go see?
yo, I can go
Vacationing,
to the World
basically.
Cup with the homie in Brazil because I can afford it.
World
now.
Cup?
So
Is that what you did?
At that,
Yeah.
that was a good time.
That's
dope,
so
man.
dope.
That was a good time.
That's probably one of the most lit ones,
Yeah.
too.
Dude, it was
as
Brazil?
like a fan going to Brazil.
Yeah.
Bro, but seeing first of all, I was there when Brazil lost to Germany.
Oh, you were at that game?
No, I was in Sao Paulo. But
seeing
like I was surrounded
seeing
by
about
the
a bunch
You were
of-
surrounded by a bunch of
seeing the
Brazilians crying.
cry.
bro, it was rough. But then we were in Rio for the final when it was Argentina against Germany. And Argentina is literally next door, right? So Buenos Aires is not that far from Rio. So we were at the beach with like hundreds of thousands of Argentinians. Bro, when they lost, yo, it got chaotic like that, dude. Like chairs were flying, people were pissed. Yo, my buddy and I were just like, yo, like we need to get out of here.
Yeah.
It's true. Argentinians don't know how to take a loss, bro.
Bro, it was
God
rough.
damn.
It was rough. But see these things, right? It's like
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to
Yeah.
even dream of like affording these things. Actually, at the time I was working at SpaceX, so my World Cup experience was footed by Elon Musk in a way.
See, bro?
Thanks, Daddy Elon.
But yeah, it changed my life. I think similarly, if STEM is a passion, if it was up to me, I want everybody to
Really,
be
to be STEM.
a fucking engineer.
So
like
what-
come
what-
through.
What was your major in? when you
I did
graduated?
mechanical engineering as a major because I like to build stuff.
Okay.
And again, it's part of that creative aspect. At the time at Michigan, I just saw there was a point where you get to choose your major. It was like which
Your
major
concentration, right?
your major. And it was like for me, it was like which major is going to allow me to build more stuff and just like have fun.
Yeah.
At the time, the mechanical engineering major was the right thing. So I loved it. And I did a minor in electrical engineering. And then eventually I also got my master's in space systems design. So kind of navigated around these worlds. And again, I was surrounded. I am surrounded to this day by geniuses. And I'm just like absorbing.
That's
from a bunch
amazing.
of
That's so cool that you said that arts and craft was something you took to.
Bro, big deal.
Because no, you say mechanical engineering is basically building, and arts and
Build
craft you
stuff,
basically
building.
build.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
build stuff.
That's really cool.
Do you have anything in your house that you've like built, like you've engineered that you're super proud of?
Or a homemade project?
Yeah, like a homemade project. Like maybe you're too lazy to get cereal, so you build something that grabs cereal.
No.
Does all
But
that.
I do have a 3D printer that I'll do like gag stuff with. I'm trying to clean it up right now to get printing again.
Do you have a 3D printer?
Yeah, dude, that's a very affordable
Is
way.
it? I've been looking. I want to get a 3D
Can you
printer.
3D print me some Jordans?
Some
or-
bitches.
like a keychain. We're not there yet, bro.
Aaron buys one right now off Amazon. He's like, yo,
This ain't that Disney Channel movie, all right? What is that one with the guy from Phil the Future?
Yeah.
I forgot the name of that. Fuck.
So yeah,
Prince's
they're-
own girlfriend.
So 3D printers are
Yeah, that's
accessible for like the
literally-
normal
Oh,
people.
dude, like a few hundred, not even, sometimes a few $100, depends like how much money you want to throw down. You can, you get some expensive ones. I built mine. I bought it in a kit and I like put it together and built it because I have fun building stuff, but you can just buy it pre-made and you can just go online and like get whatever file, put it in the thing, click print. It's
it makes
literally
it?
that easy and it's just
What?
like,
Yeah.
it
What
takes
is
its
it used?
time
What's
and
that?
boom.
Plastic. It uses plastic, right?
It's
Or-
just it's different types of plastics. Yeah, it depends what you buy.
Whoa.
Different colors.
I feel like you would be able to build yourself a sick ass PC gaming system.
Well, bro, it's honestly a cheat code for like birthdays.
that's what I was thinking.
Why?
Because like you can just
Make it?
print something for somebody, like you forgot that tomorrow's their birthday, and
Yeah.
like all of a sudden you
Oh,
build them a little toy, and they're like, oh, and like, here I made you this. It's
So
pretty
this,
cool.
I know it's not ink, but that material it is to use. Is that material expensive?
No, dude, it's super
It's
cheap.
plastic, right?
You buy rolls of it for like $20 a pop, and you can just
Oh wow! Because
print your money away, dude.
I literally had a multi-million-dollar idea like 3 weeks ago.
You
and I'm
still
like,
do.
But I was like, all
Tell
I
me.
need is a 3D printer.
Tell me, bro.
Since you have a 3D printer and I trust you, I know you're gonna take my ideas.
Don't tell him now, though. Don't tell him now.
No, honestly, I can say because someone already took it.
Oh,
I googled it and it was there.
Oh, isn't that the worst?
Yeah,
that sucks.
but I was like, such a genius idea. But if I did have a 3D printer, you can do this. I'd make a chapstick keychain holder. So you know how people always using chapstick? The cap of the chapstick, I'll just make like a little ring to it so you can connect it to your keychain. It'll be Chap and Go or something like that.
Bro, Chap and Go. Yo, actually, I just remembered a fun one that I made during the pandemic. I had a plastic pair of glasses, and if they fell and they broke, the lenses were fine. But I was literally printing my own glasses.
Oh.
So I made a bunch of frames, different colors. And if you look at my interviews during the time, you'll see that I was wearing like a yellow one day, like a red one,
cool.
a white one.
Yeah.
That was fun. And I would just like literally pop the lenses between glasses until I bought these.
Nah, that's
But you can get creative with what you make
What
on
the
there.
heck?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So you also have a memoir coming out, you said next year?
Dude, yeah, that's been a project that's kept me busy over the last year. I didn't think I was going to write a memoir until I was like 50 or 60 years old. But a few people reached out to me, and then we landed a deal with HarperCollins, second largest publisher in the world. And I have a book coming out in early 2023.
Fire.
That tells all these stories in a lot more detail. And the idea is, if a kid picks it up and they're inspired to go to school to do whatever it is, and also for their parents to pick it up and realize the importance of education. That's the deal. It's coming out in English and Spanish.
I know my mom's gonna want. I'm for sure gonna buy one for my mom.
Are you already done writing it?
We're finalizing. We're in the editorial process right now.
Okay.
Cool.
I hope we're in there. At one point, I was on I.E In Friends.
Chapter 27. I went to the Inland Empire.
No one ever lets anyone come over here ever again.
Yeah, so it's called The Boy Who Reached the Stars.
The
Correct?
Boy Who Reached for the Stars.
For the stars.
I like that.
And make sure you guys
And
make sure you guys check that out.
Look out for that.
you can pre-order it on Amazon, which is wild to see it, but
Ooh,
You can pre-order like the paperback.
paperback, hardcover, Kindle, whatever you want.
hell yeah.
Dude. It's,
I like having physical books. That's why.
yeah. I feel that.
Yeah, you
The
open
pages
it, or
smell nice.
sometimes you smell it, and it like takes you back to like whatever, like
The book.
when you were there. You're like, I have this.
When
this
do you
book.
think they can expect to like see the book maybe like published like finally like in stores?
Early 2023.
Early 2023.
Like spring 2023 is what we're aiming for. Honestly, be on the lookout on my Instagram. That's where I'll be posting
sure.
about it. But
Just be aware, March, April, May, around those months.
Are you the first
Yeah.
author we've had?
The first what?
We got the first almost a lot of
First,
things.
a lot of things, bro.
Yeah.
He's a NASA engineer.
He's our first
bro, I just
Mars
applied
Rover.
to be a citizen astronaut, so I may be like
a citizen astronaut?
Ecuador, right?
Yeah,
He's
I was born in Ecuador.
He's
Yeah.
our first Ecuadorian right here.
Grew up in Ecuador, raised in Puerto Rico.
Wait,
That
so
explains.
you said
I was like, why do you speak like a Puerto Rican? I was like, what are you trying to pull, bro? I know you like Bad Bunny, but man, I want the copy.
The Bad Bunny got to him.
Bad Bunny got to him too quick, bro. I was like
long nights in the lab.
I was like 8 years of listening to Bad Bunny would do that to you, bro. 8 years.
But you said citizen. We said citizen astronaut. That's a real
Yeah,
thing.
citizen astronaut. I just applied to a program. If I get selected, I get to launch myself to space. That'd be
What?
Yeah. I mean, for sure, in my lifetime, I think a big goal that I have
to
is
space?
to go to the moon.
Oh,
I think I'll be able to do that when I'm in my 40s and 50s. That's about the time where astronauts are primed for it. I just have to pick up my physical conditioning quite a bit more seriously. But in terms of being a citizen astronaut, and I don't know if you've seen those launches from Blue Origin, you go on what's called a parabolic trajectory, and the rocket just puts you in space for like 5 minutes, and then you come back down.
that's
So I
bad.
applied to do that and just like literally be in space.
Just chill. Like,
Have you ever
I
been
feel
in
like they owe you
have been
that,
in
right?
airplane that
Yeah,
takes you to a certain
I
I-
haven't been on a zero G
What is-
plane.
Oh, zero. Okay, there it is.
Yeah,
bro,
yeah,
I looked up how much
The
that is
Vomit
to go
Comet,
on.
dude.
How much is
Bro,
that?
it's like 10K.
Yeah, it's expensive.
10.
10K
10,000?
plus. Yeah, it
How
was.
far up does it go? Where you can't
No,
do
wait. I
gravity?
think I mistook. 16K.
I don't know, but it goes high enough that the reason you do zero G is because it just climbs to, I think, like 50,000 feet. I
Yeah.
don't know. And then it drops down, and you're kind of
You're floating. You're
and
like
then
if you're
it,
in
like,
space.
picks up.
Yeah,
And then it picks up.
It's
That's
probably
sick.
scary to see the plane doing all of that from the outside. You're like, oh, you guys.
I mean, it looked pretty small though, 50,000
Yeah.
feet, bro.
Bro,
Look,
sorry.
Yeah.
Imagine though, a regular airplane's like 38,000
Yeah.
feet in the air. You can still see, you can barely even see it. So 50,000, I don't think you'll be able to see
It was
that.
16 for two people, but yeah, 8,200. 8,200,
cheap,
bro.
dude, bro. Back pocket.
And that's one.
Just do it.
And there's only one company that does it. Or
That's
multiple
one per
companies?
person. I just looked up the first one.
I think it's one company called Zero
Zero G,
Gravity, Zero
yeah.
G, something like that.
Yeah, that's them.
So
It's a
8,200.
what is it? A Boeing 747 probably. They just throw up really high.
So it's just a big
big
plane like that.
plane.
Yeah.
If I get a good amount of money on my taxes back, I know what I'm doing. Space, here I come.
If you see Aaron in space,
If you see me doing a vlog with the GoPro, just know that my text when he's
You
done.
have to. Your username is Air Bear.
Yeah,
So
like you gotta
have to
do
at
it,
least.
Air Bear,
Yeah,
bro,
Bear.
you gotta do it.
Damn. Put it, bro. Just tax money. Fuck
Air
it.
Bear goes to
Here's
space.
my
Air Bear.
Cash App. Fund my trip to space, please.
0G.
So how does someone become a space? What is it? What you call a space?
A citizen astronaut.
citizen
Well,
astronaut.
right now there's a few companies that are
just
they'll
sign
foot
up?
the bill. So you have to apply. I applied last night.
Yeah.
I think the deadline's actually today, so
fuck.
you
Oh,
may
I
have a
missed it.
chance.
Well,
Oh shit!
may
They
have a
missed it.
chance.
Sorry.
yeah, I missed it.
But just look it up. Maybe there'll be more.
It'll be next year.
Yeah. I think there was a few years they've been doing it. I had
dope.
never applied. I finally made the time, so I'm.
Fire.
That's cool.
We could have sent
That
the
is
first.
cool.
I'd be the first Ecuadorian born.
Imagine he's like
Bro,
turning around. He's like,
astronauts
he's-
definitely beat you to that shit. Like some astronauts,
Bro, I'm
Right.
also an astronaut, bro.
That's what I'm
Astronauts
Can you imagine?
saying.
Imagine that in that zero gravity plane, they're like turning in circles, like going upside down. They're like, ha ha.
Bro, listen.
Bro, think about it. You're the only person that goes into space. You don't think you're like, bro,
Yeah.
you're the only one in the bar. Only one anywhere you go, unless you're a restaurant,
bro.
with a bunch of astronauts.
Look up some of these astronauts, bro, and
They got the dog in them.
They got the
Dude.
dog in this. I've been
back
saying
in
that.
the 80s and 90s, and even now, I'm sure bro.
You
yeah.
got to.
I'm pretty
it's
sure.
mandatory, bro.
I'm pretty sure when Neil Armstrong came back, I'm not gonna. I don't.
Ladies, this is some fuckboy facts. If your husband is an astronaut, he's piping his co-pilot.
Bro,
Because why wouldn't you? You're in space.
yo, actually, there was some drama because
Yeah.
something like that actually happened with like two astronauts, and then
Wow.
like
Up in space.
one of the. We don't know that officially, but I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be
Yeah, you wouldn't
surprised.
know.
Yeah.
But
I
and we
wouldn't
wouldn't
be
know.
surprised
But
at the,
but some there's been astronaut drama, dude.
What?
For sure,
They should
dude.
do like a reality
Well, yeah,
show.
Oh
'cause
no, there are movies.
Yeah.
there are
Imagine a
movies.
reality show.
A reality show? Rod,
Yeah.
stop.
Shut up. Ron, stop. Over.
Imagine the International Space Station though. Like they're there for months at a time, right?
Oh yeah.
They're
I think Tom Cruise is about to do some crazy shit like that. He's
Armageddon 2 or
He's gonna
what?
film a movie
That wasn't Tom Cruise.
in space.
Fuck that
man.
Scientology
But,
lover.
Yeah, dude. Fucking
That is wild. Also, one last thing before we wrap up. This episode drops Thanksgiving week.
Oh shoot.
So
Oh yeah, that's right. Next week.
yeah. So I just want to go around the table.
I was about yes, thank you. I was about to say it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And
I ain't even thankful though. Imagine.
and just go
a
around
hater.
things you guys are thankful for. I'll go first. Obviously,
cry.
I'm super
cry. Should we bring
extremely
out the blanket?
thankful for you guys.
Yes.
You guys have literally changed my life in ways I cannot imagine. So I am extremely grateful. I am extremely grateful for the co-hosts, Cesar and Aaron. And again, I think we're a year and a half doing this week after week. We have not missed a week. So your guys' dedication.
Days off.
This episode
Yeah.
will be our 88th week in a row.
Yeah, in a row. So your guys'
Whoa,
dedication, your hard work is amazing. I love it. It's admirable.
I want
You
my
guys-
raise.
Actually, I'm not thankful for any.
Actually, Aaron gets muted. He doesn't get to be thankful for shit.
And so yeah, extremely thankful. And again, I'm also another thing. I'm thankful. It's a huge one. I'm thankful for you guys for giving us the opportunity to meet guests. Literally, like Elio, this is amazing, bro.
crazy, bro.
I've,
Bro, thank you guys for doing this and for having me. Like,
no, bro. It's
No, this is one of the
Highlighting
most
stories.
like interesting, like educational videos we've ever had.
like
Honestly,
literally in the past month we've had a man who's worked on the rover. We've had
Soccer player?
a soccer player
who just won a
who
championship.
just won a championship. We're meeting artists. We're meeting people we
Comedians.
look up to. Comedians. We're getting all these opportunities.
bro, this is just the beginning too. So like,
and it's
Oh, damn,
it's
thanks,
amazing.
man.
And it's
Thank
all
you.
literally because of you guys.
Yeah,
and I
thank you
don't want
guys.
you guys to ever forget it. You guys fuel us. You guys are our rocket to our NASA.
hey,
Yeah.
That was corny. I want to go next, bro.
Throw that in there. Who wants?
You want to go next,
sir?
Aaron?
You can go next if you want.
All right,
You're
so he
next
doesn't have to
to
cut the camera again.
him. Yeah.
All right. Well, first and foremost, of course, I'm thankful for all you viewers, all of our listeners, all of our friends. Either way you support us, it's really amazing how far we've come. Like I think back and I'm like, damn, sometimes I wear my own merch. Like I wear our own brand, and I'm
Our
like,
own
that's
shirts,
badass.
our
Not a lot of
hoodies,
people can
yeah.
do that or
Yeah.
say they can do that. And for that, I'm thankful for you guys for like being able to do that. Of course, I'm thankful for Saul and Aaron. That's a given. You know, I don't hate them that much. Hate Aaron a little bit more. But it's all right. And I'm thankful for the guests. Definitely, I'm thankful for you guys. You guys, you know, you guys open up your agenda and let us come and pick your brain, mess with you guys, say kind of some out of pocket stuff sometimes here and there. And I mean, I'm just thankful to be here and probably keep this going for as long as we can until the wheels fall off, until the rocket fuel ends.
Until we have to fly up and just crash somewhere.
Hey, bro.
Hey, we learned something, bro.
I'm telling you, that shit looked like I was going to heaven. I'm telling you.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh yeah. I would be thankful for you guys, but I still have a fucking day job. So what the fuck? Pick it up. What the fuck, guys? No, I'm just kidding. I want this to be my fucking job, guys. Hurry up. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, I'm thankful for you guys. Thank you. Without you guys, of course, literally, like it's the most basic thing I can say, but it's so it's 100% true facts. This would not be possible without you guys. We wouldn't be sitting here if none of you guys were watching. We wouldn't be doing this for 88 weeks if it was just like 2 of you guys watching.
I would.
Shut up. But thank you guys for continuing to support us and for telling your friends, your family, and for like sharing us with everyone. And that's how we, you know, it gets bigger and bigger. And every time we get bigger and bigger, we always have bigger and bigger guests every time. Yeah. And like today we have a huge guest.
Yo soy un pelagato.
Come on, guys. We have a Latino
space mechanic.
NASA space mechanic.
Engineer.
Like, would you be considered an astronaut if you hit space and then come back down? Technically,
I'll still call myself a citizen astronaut.
I'm gonna call you an astronaut, bro.
Bro, the NASA astronauts are a whole caliber of people, dude. We can talk about that later before he finish up the.
Sorry, Aaron.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I go off track a lot, bro.
Yeah, we
don't
do
worry about it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Be thankful.
Thankful for you guys, of course. Thankful for Saul. Fuck Cesar. I'm just kidding. I'm thankful for both of them. Saul, especially for thinking about me and Cesar for this whole project, and we not knowing what the hell, and we literally just started and we just said, "Look, okay, we're recording." Boom, and it just luckily and has worked out. And hopefully, you know, it continues to work for many more years. I'm thankful for my 2 bratty little children who are little brats, but I love them. I'm thankful for their mom, of course, because, you know, without her, if I was a single parent all by myself, I don't think I'd be able to do this podcast, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, shout outs to her family as well, who takes care of them while I don't see them. And I was supposed to thank someone else. Thank you to myself, because I'm the fucking man.
That's right. We don't thank yourself.
It's actually a good one. It's actually a good one.
No.
Actually,
yeah.
No.
Thank yourself. Forgot to thank myself.
And yeah, thankful. Praise to God. Thank you so much for everything, man. And yeah, I love doing what we do. And yeah, just thank you guys.
You're welcome.
I'll do it. I'm grateful for opportunities like this. First of all, like it's dope that you guys are highlighting stories of all these different people doing different things. Like, yeah, y'all are meeting people, but you're using the platform to influence the culture, bro. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm very grateful to just be part of these spaces, and like, seriously, thank you for having me. And similarly, the various opportunities I've had to share my story and to highlight the people I'm surrounded by. I think it's been so powerful over this last year in particular. I'm in the middle of a career change, so I'm super excited for what's to come. No spoilers today, but just follow me on Instagram and you'll find out more. And my friends, they know who they are. They've always been there. My family, my mama in particular, she's the warrior that I try to be like. And my girlfriend, she puts up with my nonsense. She's very supportive.
You put up with her nonsense.
Nah,
You're the king, man. You're the king. Come on,
dude. We're king and queen, dude. I'll say that.
There it is.
It's been amazing. We moved in together recently, so things have been awesome. And we're about to go on vacation for these next 2 weeks to disconnect and whatnot. But it's gonna be fantastic. It's been a lovely year, and there's a bunch of really cool stuff down the pipeline. To Mars and beyond, baby.
Yes.
Alrighty.
I love that.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you so much. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. You can find me at every social media platform at Saul V Gomez.
Y'all can find me at I Know Cesar.
You can find me at airbear_IE.
And where can the people find you?
At the Space Mechanic.
At the Space Mechanic. And every link will be in his bio. You can pre-order. You can pre-order his memoir down in the link in the bio. Go check out, go follow him and all that stuff. It was great having you.
Hey, thank you guys.
Thank you for coming out.
Yeah,
Thank
you've
you.
taught us so much today. I was super excited just to get an actual person who worked in NASA. So this was amazing. And for you being Latino is a huge inspiration for us and for people watching.
Yeah, man.
So thank you again for
Sorry for the
everything you're doing.
conspiracies.
No, bro, I love it. I love it. Because y'all are paying attention.
No, I just love the reaction earlier. It was like when you said the Black Knight, he was like, he was like, fucking shit, man.
But again, thank you guys. Make sure to subscribe to us on Patreon as well. New clips every Friday. You guys thought we forgot about you, huh? Nope.
No.
Well, you
Wait.
You what?
Hi. Before we get started on the shout outs, in the
You're
comments, let us know what you're thankful for.
Yeah,
Let us know what you're thankful
thankful for.
This is coming out Thanksgiving, of course, and we just
Yeah.
told you guys what we're thankful for. We want to hear what you guys are thankful
Yeah,
for.
leave it down in the
And if you're not
comments.
thankful for anything, tell me what you hate.
Yeah.
Tell me what you be hating on.
Because I'm a hater first.
Yeah, I'm a hater before I'm thankful. I'd be like, oh, Sal's doing good.
Fuck that.
That's
guy.
good for him.
Yeah, that's good for him. Why isn't he doing better? That's it. That's only good.
But thankful he's doing good.
All right. Well, now it's time to be thankful for you guys. Thankful for everyone on Patreon. Also thankful for we're talking about the sneaky links, friends with benefits, sugar mama, sugar daddies, bottle service. Thank you for anyone who's ever partaked in the Patreon. You guys are life changers.
Thank
For
you.
real. First, we're going to shout out our sugar mamas and our sugar daddies.
Yeah.
First off, we got Jonathan.
Welcome, Jonathan.
We got Abigail Aguilar. Fatima Corpeno.
What's up, Fatima? She got the fatty too.
David Naranjo.
What's up, Orange?
Isaac Bustos.
What's up, Busty?
Lucero Chavez.
My throat's getting tired.
Kim, aka your girl KK. Jesus Guzman.
What's up, Chewy?
Maria Felipe.
What's up, Maria?
Karen Cespedes.
What's going on, Karim?
Dalia Garcia. Shoot me your tias.
Hit me up, Talia.
Raquel Cerda.
What's up, Raquel?
Mambo El Diablo.
Going on, Diablo?
Razor Ramon Hedges. Flores.
Oh, my throat just started hurting now.
M. Tizzy with the Riz.
You got the Riz, my boy?
Sandra Gonzalez.
What's going on, Sandrita?
Oscar Martinez.
What's up, Oscar?
Kike y la novia forever Perez.
Oh! Never mind, I'll tell you guys after.
Yoel Ortega.
Yoel.
Who said he fucking ghosted her? Joel, go.
Liliana Juarez.
Liliana.
David Ramos.
David.
Eileen.
Eileen.
Bradley Lopez Martinez.
Yo, OG Bradley.
And Angela Santoya. Thank you so much, guys, for being part of our Sugar Mamas and our Sugar Daddies. And now, a huge shout out to the man. He is back. Shout out to our bottle service, Big Dick. He honestly, this guy.
He's the reason we have all these guests.
No, he's the reason the first rocket went to the moon.
Yeah.
Because he
forgot.
he funded
we
it.
forgot to mention he's a
funded it.
philanthropist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
he funded
philanthropist.
the rockets.
He's a geologist.
He's
Geologist.
he's everything.
He's a
Studies rocks.
biologist.
He studies rocks.
A therapist.
He's a
Rapist.
He is not.
I thought of that one. But
He's
I'm not gonna say
not
that
that.
one. He's not that one. But
He has
shout
the
out.
But he'll
biggest
take your
cock.
girl though.
Everyone go follow at A Benitez 96. That's ABENITEZ 96. And go ask him for a loan because he's got it.
Alvaro.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you, Alvaro.
Thank you, Alvaro. Thank you so much, guys. Everyone on Patreon, everyone who watches, $5 every tier. We are super thankful for you guys. And
And
you
don't
guys-
forget, Alvaro has the biggest cock.
Yep. And thank you guys for watching. We'll
He
see you
donates
guys.
to children.
We'll see you guys next week. Peace.